back on waiting room. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Sorry for the late start. We're just getting some things set up in the background here.
Well,
But tonight,
don't worry. There's peace in the Middle East, Tim.
peace in the Middle East.
What a sick joke.
You know, Israel and the United States are best friends now. Don't we know all that? Yeah, you called me yesterday and I hadn't seen it yet. I was like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the latest news, and I guess we're going to cover it. We'll talk about it with Clint, too. We'll cover the waterfront. But basically, Iran has a whole new set of demands, even more extreme than the MOU already was.
Yep.
And then Israel has announced that they are going to attack independently of the U.S.
It's all cooked. It's all cooked.
Totally.
And here's the thing. We all know if Israel decides to go on its own route, they can't sustain that war on their own.
No.
They don't have the manufacturing capabilities. They're using our weapons half the time. It's not like they have their own missile systems that they figured out. So, yeah, we'll see how that one plays out, but we got a bunch of clips and videos ready for that. We've also got a deep dive tonight, inspired by the latest events with Fauci being held in contempt. We've got other details about the fact that, you know, that pardon that went all the way back to 2014, it just put me down a rabbit hole. I'm like, why is 2014 so special, Rex? And then I was like, oh.
It's the Maidan coup year as well. Let's not forget, a lot of things happened in Ukraine.
Right. So I didn't just go through the 2014 era and all the way through. I actually went back even further than that since his origin. So I'm going to give you guys a full breakdown on just the messed up stuff and conflict of interest and why this guy really isn't a good guy. Okay. So I wish I had read Kennedy's book a lot sooner or something like that to really understand these things. I think more people should read about it. So Clint will be on in about 15 minutes or so. So don't worry, guys. You are in the right place. I mean, we could just start with the first one, which is
I would just go to Iran's reopening conditions. Go ahead and read these really quick once we get it up. So just to start off, they're asking for the $300 billion. They're asking for another $100 billion unfrozen assets. They're asking for an end to U.S. hostility and insults. So no more mean tweet from Trump. That'll be in writing. They control the strait, and they want to charge up to a 7% fee on
7% is crazy, guys.
Well, hey, we put them in that position.
7% is crazy.
Will you click on it so I can read it?
Yeah, I'm gonna open it up.
It's that first one.
First one, Wes.
Right. Yeah, breaking. Iran has laid out 9 conditions for reopening Strait of Hormuz, including $300 billion in compensation, a ban on U.S. and Israeli vessels, and up to 7% transit fees, declaring the waterway will not open until the U.S. corrects its behavior. Oh, the cuckening. Oh, so
That's exactly what threw my head.
It's so crazy. Oh, my gosh. The Supreme National Security Council stated that Iran will never compromise, whether in war or in negotiations, and that the U.S., we scroll down, must meet all the conditions before the strait reopens. The conditions include an end to U.S. threats and insults, no more mean tweet, a permanent end to U.S. wars against Iran and its allies in Lebanon, Palestine, Yemen, and Iraq, lifting of the naval blockade and withdrawing U.S. forces, $300 billion, lifting all sanctions, unconditional release all frozen assets, that's like $100 billion. Iran's right to charge up to 7%, that's the big one, I think.
Unreal.
Both our opinion. A ban on U.S. and Israeli vessels.
Wait,
Forever.
whoa. What is number 8?
Forever.
Yo, they're really taking this like to the extreme here.
Yeah, well, we killed their pope, dude.
I think I saw somebody mention here, wasn't it just originally 1%? Yeah, but it seems like
it escalates, just like the war.
I think they realized they have a lot more cards than America was letting up. Do you think we're going to agree to this? Because this is crazy.
I'm not going to agree to this.
This is crazy.
I'm not going to agree.
A 20% violation toll on ships if conditions are breached. Oh yeah, they're smoking some shisha.
Well, I think they can do it though, man. Because like, what are we going to do? Like, ultimately, like, and we'll get into this in a second with Israel. Like they say they're going to unilaterally attack Iran by themselves, and when they say that to me, it's just like they're just trying to get us back in. They're trying to get us to escalate. Because the thing is, they're going to get hit to a degree where they're going to have to say, look, we're going to nuke them unless you do ground.
Oh my God.
We will nuke them.
You know what? You might not be false about that.
Dude, I think I'm right.
Oh my God.
That's my prediction.
It's not funny, but it's just comical that like the wheels are coming off the train like faster and faster and faster.
Because the nuke will hit and hurt Israel too with the radiation. So like they have to make a decision on like Netanyahu's going to call the White House and say, it's time for you to mobilize the troops. Oh, I'm going to nuke them. I'm going to do it. And like, what will Trump do?
I know I caused this mess in the first place.
Here's the real middle step that's in between all this is the false flag, right? Because they have this war happen again, Israel, Iran. Then we have some sort of false flag happen, whether it's to a base overseas or to here domestically at home. And then that kind of like you'll see a push. It'll take like 5 minutes for every single news channel, mainstream alternative person to say, like, we got to do it now. We don't have a choice.
I didn't even read this last part. It literally says, this is not a negotiation. It's a surrender document.
Yes.
And Iran is not asking for concessions. It's demanding U.S. capitulation on every front. Money, military withdrawal, sanctions, control over the strait, $300 billion figure is not the starting point. It's the price for doing business. The U.S. can accept these terms or keep the strait closed. There is no middle ground. Tehran has drawn a line, and Washington is on the other side of it. The ball is now in Trump's court, but the conditions aren't changing. I'm not going to lie, guys. This is pissing me off.
That's making me really mad. Like, we should have been doing this shit a long time ago.
Not even just on the U.S. side, but like Iran. Like, I get you guys are in some position of power, but really, who the are you to like basically demand all of these things as if we can't just reach some happy medium? Now I get they're pissed off. You know, they had their entire upper administration wiped out, but this is like robbing the guy, taking all his money, going to his house, punching him in the face and his wife and his kids, and then just being like, yeah, you owe me.
Well, hey, if we can kidnap Maduro, why can't they do this? You see the precedent we set? You see the problem with all this stupid... I don't like this either. I hate this.
And this makes America like everyone's bitch. Like this, this literally, if we agree to this...
It's the cuckening.
It's the cuckening, and then the respect, the global respect has gone out of the window, and who else is going to make some demands, right? So... dude, this is a hard one. I wouldn't agree to this. I'm not going to lie.
Well, here's the thing. And we got happy medium GTFO. Here's the thing about that is like this isn't a negotiation anymore because
it's not.
We killed the negotiator. Like this, that's how we ended up here, Tim. We killed the negotiators along with the Ayatollah. We killed all like 40 top people that we were in the middle of talks with because we knew where they were because we were talking to them.
You know,
it's so sick.
The boomer's coming out of me, bro, because I'm like
powerful boomer.
The boomer-esque in me is like punch them in the face a little bit so they can, you know, like maybe send a few more missiles. I don't know.
It's only they're only going to be 10%. It'll be 100%.
Honestly,
we own the boats now.
Honestly, the only option Trump really has at this point, if this is true, is to punch them even harder with something they didn't think about that becomes it's going to become a humanitarian crisis though if he goes that route. That's a problem.
Like, from like his what are his options? He can surrender and go home. He can nuke them. He can do ground invasion. He can do more tit for tat strike. Tit for tat strike results in the other two options. Like that's the problem. It's like you can't kinetically engage because every time you kinetically engage, it gives them another excuse. And honestly, I think they're fine with fighting the U.S. They're like, oh, Ahmed, blow up the U.S. military base.
So my question, though, is if this is, quote unquote, this isn't a surrender. This is like bend over backwards, take it up the ass, and then just do as I tell you, right? Like I just, all of these things, including a ban on U.S. and Israel, like forget Israel for a second.
Right.
U.S. ships, are you kidding me? We're literally funneling oil outside of there, and there's also all types of trade that goes on with all the Gulf states. Like, this isn't sustainable for us. And a 20% violation toll? I'm
Don't
sorry.
Be violating.
I'm sorry. Like, dude, I get Iran got their carts, but like, who the fuck are you? Like, you can't just declare all these things.
They did because they win the war. Like, they won the war. Like, this is the thing about it being a war, and people that deny it's a war. People that say, oh, it's a conflict, it's a military strike, smoke cigarettes. People that do that shit. People that do that shit don't acknowledge the reality that we fucking lost. It's so crazy. They still think we can win. And here's the thing is like, from your perspective, you're talking about like being able to negotiate from a stronger position.
100%.
They don't think about negotiating. Like, are the Iranians in the room with us now? Are they with us right now? Like,
dude, this is awful. I'm thinking about the after effects, the shock waves that happen. If we agree to something like this, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. It doesn't end with just this deal. That's the problem I have here.
Brandon Weichert put out an excellent piece, and maybe we want to go to the Israel one next. Brandon Weichert put out an excellent piece on, I'll repost it on my Twitter tonight, of what would have happened had we not done the Iran war and how amazing everything would have been. Like economic recovery, energy costs, everything being cheap, net exporter energy. I guess we got to go ahead and read this one now. Do you want to read it?
Yep. Throw it up there, Wes. Breaking. Israel's preparing for a unilateral strike on Iran as it concludes that the U.S. is no longer willing to finish the war on its terms. Well, whose terms really said it? It was Israel in the first place.
Literally.
So a move that can make Israel that will make Israel Iran's primary target in this phase of the conflict, per Israeli Channel 13. The U.S. is seeking an exit. U.S. Gen Dan Crane is looking for an off-ramp. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to look for an off-ramp. This isn't sustainable for us. We understood that. Also, remember, I think the number of, like, the depletion of our weapons is, like, even worse than everybody's thinking.
Oh, it's a total nightmare. The numbers just came out. It's under 700 Patriot interceptors.
Right. So, like, let's say we go to war with China tomorrow. We're cooked. We lose that, right? Outright. So then it says Israel sees U.S. diplomacy as a dead end now and is preparing to act unilaterally because it cannot accept that Iran has outlasted the campaign. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. It's getting really hard. It got like, I kind of was like, oh, the Israelis kind of like didn't want to fully give, but this type of shit is like, come on now. I can't defend this.
No, it was indefensible. And the thing is, Iran has been more than happy to just blow up U.S. military bases, right? Like, they've been leaving Israel alone deliberately, right? So if Israel engages and strikes again, it's going to be
you send a couple supersonic missiles into Tel Aviv, I'm sure they'll change their mind. Well, that's the problem here.
The thing that really scares me is, like, what they consider to be an existential threat, right? They consider Iran to be an existential threat to them. And in my mind, like, if there's an existential threat to the U.S. truly, then it would justify us using nuclear weapons, right? So, like, for them, I watched Brandon Weichert, again, not Brandon Weichert, I watched Cenk Uygur, Mario Newfall, and then he was on with, like, a Israeli guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And he just kept repeating that line of, like, existential, we're a tiny country, we don't really have an option here. And it's just like, you created the conditions for this crisis.
Let's think about
manufactured, 100%.
You're right. Let's think about this. Let's say the stuff in the West Bank never happened. Then probably Hamas would not be launching missiles in that circumstance because of the encampments that were increasing, and there was the subjugation of those people.
Talking about the settlers, right?
The settlers, right? They were pushing people out. Okay, that's the chain reaction. Shit. Then you've got Lebanon and you've got Hezbollah.
Right.
Right. And you've got Hamas in Gaza, and they're both kind of throwing missiles as warning, like, hey, you better stop this. Okay. Then they go and they strike back. It's a tit for tat. That goes on for years. And then you have to think about the calculation. At this point, there was an off-ramp way back then, right? Like, there could have been an agreement of some sort, like, hey, we'll stop launching missiles. And you guys will stop creating this kind of turmoil for the Palestinian people.
Yeah, but they just want them gone. Like, that's the reality.
It is, and it's those war hawks.
They want them gone. They want the land. They don't define their borders, right? They're occupied. If we go take, like, the top 5% of Mexico and say that we're holding it as a security zone, we're not holding it as a security zone. We're taking it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, they brag about it. Okay, I played the clip on the show. He's like, oh, yeah, we've demolished over 20,000 homes.
What's so...
Like, what about the terrorists does that involve? Exactly.
I think the part I'm trying to understand, what is so strategically different from having those regions where you just moved the line of conflict up a little bit? Like, it's not like it's got a bunch of gold sitting on it or resources.
But it's their promised land.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
It's a religious thing.
And this is the whole problem is like, if we're going to fight a war with Iran based off their theocratic government, we can't do it on behalf of another theocratic government. Now, that doesn't exactly fucking follow or make sense.
Yep.
At all.
Yep.
It's stupid.
I would have the same problem if they went around trying to conquer countries because of the prophet. Like, I'd be like, no, let's stop. Let's put an end to that, right? Everyone can exist in their own little spaces, and we can figure out how to coexist.
But there's one hostile actor that provokes every single situation. Like, literally every single situation.
Yeah,
and Netanyahu's calculus is political, not strategic. The elections are in October. He needs a victory. How sick is that? It literally, not a victory, he needs a war.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even read that. Yep. It's not strategic. Facing October elections, he needs a victory to boost his standing. Striking Iran is his last card, but Iran has already shown it can withstand U.S. strikes and emerge stronger. Israel's independent action would only prove its inability to defeat Iran without American backing. This is reminding me of the fact that, like, Netanyahu, if none of this stuff would have happened, he probably would have been kicked out of office a long ass time ago.
Well, he made it happen.
Yeah.
He made sure that everything bad happened to both Israel, Iran, Lebanon, Syria, everywhere. I mean, al-Shara being in Syria, that's Netanyahu.
Yeah.
All Lebanon operation, that's Netanyahu. Gaza, that's Netanyahu. Iran, that's Netanyahu.
And just keep in mind, their country has the same problem as our country, where we've got like Lindsey Graham's and Mark Levin's and these other guys that don't really care that much about the country except for getting specific agendas done that further their interests. They have that same problem over there. And Netanyahu is like, he's worse. He's
Ben-Gvir, Smotrich,
crazy.
Israel Katz.
These are boomers of their time period, right? Like, that's the boomer talk of the Cold War that goes on over there. That's their Cold War, right? So it's hot these guys. War. Yeah, I mean, it's hot war, but
we got you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got Clint joining us soon. So I would go to oh yeah, Unc needs congressional approval for the ballroom funding. That's pretty funny.
I thought he was going to pay with that out of pocket. What happened?
No, well, we don't do that.
Oh, so taxpayer money. Gotcha.
Don't be racist.
My bad. I know.
The only color that matters is green. Okay. Yeah, go. We throw it up.
Yeah, which one? 4 or 3?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, I just figured something lighter while we wait for Clint.
Oh,
Federal
this is beautiful.
appeals judge stopped it, and he's got a crazy tweet. This looks like a tumor, right? Like it's a tumor growing out of the White House, like a cancer, like stage 4.
Yeah, this is crazy, dude. First of all, what would this accomplish?
Dude,
they've got new places for the rich people to just kind of hang and have parties. Like, is that what this is?
It's like they say that it was in part privately funded by like all the billionaires and stuff, and that they get they get access or whatever. Like, here's the thing. You've been to DC, right?
Yeah.
Have you been to the White House? Like,
yeah. I mean, the last time I was at the White House was like during George Floyd era. So
right, but like,
I couldn't even fucking get close to it.
But you've seen the White House before,
right?
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah, like did not look like this.
No, this looks like Austin, like times 10. We're just nonstop construction, construction wherever you're going.
Building. They're addicted to it.
Yeah, they're addicted. This is crazy. How do you go? You go WWE was in that area. Like, dude, the grass is astroturfed. It's gone.
Yeah, they should have just left the cage there and had the politicians fight. They should have just left that as a permanent attraction.
So this is just going to stay like this for a while till they figure out the funding.
Listen to this, though. It will provide the highest level of defense, offense, and safety. So it's it'll be like a weapons platform for like when the population is like, we're tired of you just launch ballistic missiles from the White House at the people when they disobey. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what the maybe he wants a new thing that's named after him like he does all the others.
I mean, that's everything.
Right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
I just don't understand. What's the strategic importance of having the ballroom? It's legacy. That's the only thing I can think of. It's legacy.
I mean, shit. The legacy's the war. That's what the legacy is. The legacy is being retarded.
He says, he says defense, offense, safety for the people of Washington, D.C. Okay, yeah, because people are going to go and hide and shelter in there, right?
Right.
And more importantly, for future presidents, also Rising is the desperately needed ballroom, something that former presidents have wanted for 150 years, which sits directly. Oh, we got Clint in the background here. How about let's do an introduction for him before we bring him on the stage? And Wes, go ahead and get him set up on the screen share there. Okay, let me just pull this up real quick.
Appreciate everyone here. Repost the stream, like the stream, repost the stream. If you're watching this on Rumble, please like it on Rumble. It means a lot. It helps us. Our guest tonight is Clint Russell.
Big commentator.
A big-time commentator, host Liberty Lockdown, one of the top political podcasts in America. Before starting the show, Clint spent 15 years as a private money mortgage broker, working on hundreds of millions of dollars in loans. Today, he covers politics, economics, war, and government power. Clint, welcome to Gray Area. Happy to have you on the show.
Ooh.
Oh, 1 second.
Got to get him on the other screen.
All right.
I'll bring him over.
Howdy.
Rex, Tim, thank you for having me, guys. How are you doing?
Doing well, man.
As well as we can be, you know.
We're very privileged to have you on the show. We appreciate you getting on this Sunday. I know you had other places you could have been, but we really, our audience would love to hear from you. We've got a lot of things that are happening, as you know, that you're probably kept up on.
Latest disaster.
Latest disaster. I guess 10,000 foot view. How do you feel these days? What's going on?
Well, it makes me feel naive to say it, but I feel betrayed. I should have never had any faith. And I guess I did know better, but out of desperation, I was just praying. I was just praying that, like, we got this weird amalgamation of seemingly dissident figures that are coming together, and maybe there's a chance. You know, I get a lot of flack from it, especially from the libertarian camp. But at the end of the day, like, I'm a peaceful person. I don't want to see a revolution. So if I see a chance, I'm going to take it. And I saw a chance, and it didn't work out, and it is what it is at this point. But I think the silver lining in it, obviously, is that most of the people that were in the same boat that I was, kind of just like a toe in the water, hoping for the best. They've all recognized what this is. They all recognize that the duopoly is in charge, and they're pissed off, and they're ready for something new. So I guess the question is, can we actually deliver something new? Is it even possible, or is the system so is it such a partisan? Is it so locked down that you really can't break through anymore? And I think that's TBD. I mean, my gut tells me that it's too locked down to break through, but I obviously hope that I'm wrong.
I think for us, for me and Tim, a big barometer of this was the Massey election, because Massey won his prior election by like 75%, like incredibly popular. And the fact that they're able to go into his district and they're able to run AI ads of him with AOC and Ilhan Omar, and they're able to spend like $30 million. And literally, that the guy that won brags about wanting to reinstitute a national draft. They were able to get people to vote for that. Is that not the ultimate black bill?
Well, yeah. I mean, the Massey election loss was, I mean, I was already radicalized the moment that they bombed Natanz, but I was also super radicalized when he said we're still talking about Epstein. I mean, there's a litany of layers by which I got more and more radicalized and blackpilled. But yeah, for me, you know, Massey's my guy. I'm a libertarian. Like, that's my dude. So especially the fact that he really got targeted specifically because he tried to deliver, and he did deliver on the campaign promise about transparency when it came to the Epstein files. He delivered on Trump's campaign promise, and then Trump repaid him by throwing dozens of millions of dollars at him through Miriam Adelson to get him gone. So yeah, I was furious, but it makes perfect sense. I mean, I think that they are angling for potential. I'm not even sure that it's necessarily Iran. It still feels as if they're angling towards China for a wider war, but I don't know. Anyways, point being, the draft seems like it's going to be called upon at some point in the next couple decades, and they don't want a guy like Massey in there telling the truth about it.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is cooked. And when I think about it, with your political awakening, when would you say that kind of happened, and like what led you to really start coming out, speaking on the things that you had issues with? Because I'm sure your political opinion has shifted over the years, right?
Actually not. I mean,
really?
Well, yeah, I'm very weird in that my dad was a libertarian, and he ran for Congress in the 90s as a libertarian. So I was born in the darkness. But I mean, I've become more extreme in my beliefs, I guess you could say. My dad would have been considered a very moderate figure compared to somebody like me. So And I just think that's kind of the natural progression of the circumstances that we live under. But you can tell by the name of my show, Liberty Lockdown, like that was the catalyst to get me in the game. It was May of 2020 is when I started my show. So it was no joke. As soon as I saw that happening, I was like, all right, I gotta get in the mix. I didn't know what to do. I mean, we were so outnumbered and overwhelmed. The propaganda was 24/7, media, influencers, Hollywood, the news, all the way top down. It was unbelievable. So I just wanted to be a voice in the wilderness. I was anonymous because I was still running my mortgage company for the first year I was doing the show. And then eventually I shut down my business because I didn't have enough of a ability to see the future, which is basically my job as an underwriter for loans. And I was like, all right, I got to get out of this entirely. And then I went public with who I was. And then the rest is history, 5 years of going a couple times a week and really laying it on the line as best I can. I mean, I'm not a soldier or anything.
The future is very cloudy. I think that's interesting that you kind of bring that up. And like, obviously I don't know anything about like mortgage and finance or anything like that. But as far as just trying to predict like various, like whether it's a black swan event, whether it's a market crash, where all like the pump and dump stuff that goes on right now is incredibly extreme. It just seems like if you're not in on the grift, if you're not in on like the hustle, then really like whether you're an average American businessman or whatever, you're kind of left in the dark. And I think in 2024, we had this giant expectation that Trump would come back in and it would be kind of like that 2016 time period. What was your thoughts about like 2024 election?
In terms of economics?
Just in terms of like Donald Trump and what he represented to you at the time.
Well, as I said, I had a toe in the water. I wasn't a full-on Trump supporter, so I didn't have much optimism as to onshoring industry and bringing back the golden age of economics. Like I don't even agree with most of his economics, to be blunt. I'm hard money Austrian economics guy, and I'm also a free market guy. So I disagree with him on a ton of those things. For me, and I part ways again with the libertarian camp on this, but I really believe that getting the border under control was super important. So I was optimistic about that because I felt like that was something he could deliver on, and he did. He didn't deliver on the mass deportations that he promised, but at least he did secure the border. So I was happy about that. And then the other catalyst that really got me in the game was the proxy war against Russia. I was just looking at that and I'm like, this is the most suicidal thing I've seen since COVID, and it's arguably crazy.
That's literally what got me back into all of it.
Me too.
It's completely bonkers and insane that we've continued to fund them. We gave them $300 billion. And we want to talk about the entire mission at the beginning, the outset. We said, Boris Johnson said to Zelensky on behalf of us and behalf of NATO, he said, we're going to help you fight Russians so that we're going to deplete their military. And now look at where we're at. Yep. It's quite insane to see the expense of all the missile interceptors, all the money, both up there and then now in the Middle East. It's really left us defenseless. And you talked about a little bit earlier about it potentially maybe being a future war with China. I think that's the excuse that our politicians have in their head, and that's like why we have to project power in Israel, in the IMEC corridor, in the Middle East. I think it's really more of an excuse, though. And that's kind of what I'm growing to suspect. I think it's really just something that we've been trained to do as why we have to be in that region. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that, but I think when I think about the bigger problem here is what confuses me is why can't we just do the common sense thing? Like I know we all talk about like dark entities and power structures in the background, but that picture gets more and more clear as just common sense policies that either Biden or Trump could have enacted to just be like, okay, well, instead of spending $100 million on Tomahawks today, we might actually upgrade our power grid system so that like in Austin, we don't have rolling blackouts. But like, Clint, tell me, what do you think? Why can't we just seem to just do the right thing? Why can't government? Do you think it's pure incompetency, or do you think there's something deeper happening there?
Yeah, I've evolved on this quite a bit. I used to think that it was just standard corruption, graft, like the black hole of DC and military industrial complex. I think it's much more sinister than that. I think that we're not a sovereign nation. I've come to that conclusion begrudgingly. I did not want to believe it.
Explain that.
I agree.
I think that we're owned and operated by the Israelis. That's my honest opinion. And I have a lot of reason to feel that way. As I said, I didn't come to it lightly. It is it's just so transparent that, you know, Miriam Middleton calls the shots, and every orbiting tight influencer in the cabinet to Trump is either, you know, Israeli like themselves or a Zionist, like overt Zionist. It's just, to me, it's become very, very clear that we aren't sovereign. I just can't put it any straighter than that. We're not a sovereign nation anymore. And obviously there's other influences too, other, you know, like I said, the military industrial complex, the just the super PACs. There's other interests and other nations that also influence our politics, but I don't think anything even holds a candle to what the Israelis do to us.
So I think in a hierarchy, yeah, I would put Israel at the top, but then, you know, the Saudis and the Gulf states come right in there too, in my opinion, with all of the oil and the economics intertwining of how that all works.
I gotta disagree with that though, because
really,
yeah, well, I mean, sure, they have a lot of influence, but just look what happened during the Iran war. I mean, we used our interceptors to defend Israel, and we let these, you know, Muslim and Arab nations get just pummeled by the Iranians. So if you're going to say that they're 1A, 1B, like 1B is way down here, brother. Like they don't give a damn about them compared to the Israelis.
They took us to war. We killed the Islamic Pope and we bombed the elementary school on day one. Like that's like, as far as like power over a government goes, you can say domestic policy or funding, like that's involved a bunch of different groups. But as far as military action, there's only one nation that can compel us to do that. And that's them. That's the reality.
I just think that the Saudis and those Gulf states had just as much incentive to take out Iran at the same time, and they kind of just allowed it to play out. Also, MBS had a lot of conversations in the back room. Now, Israel, I would, like I said, to your point, yes, I would put Israel much higher on that list, but I don't rule them out from the mere fact that you've got the Sunni and Shia conflicts that have been going around, and Saudi Arabia has been looking for a reason to have that region.
Does MBS come to Congress and do they all clap for him? Like that's what I would say to that. Like it's dude, he's our king. Like we supplicate ourselves. Like that's literally what it is. It's supplication.
Yep. And I mean, the only thing that even comes close in terms of that adoration would have been Zelensky getting the same, you know, crazy applause in the Ukrainian flags, which once again happens to be Jewish, which is just a weird similarity. Like the only people we worship happen to be Jewish. I don't know why. By we, I mean our political class. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to downplay the impact that Qatar and the Saudis and other Arab nations have on the American political establishment. They have a lot of money because of their oil industry, and therefore they have a decent amount of influence. But again, I would just argue it pales in comparison to what Israel has over our political elite.
What's your timeline for this? What do you think is going to happen, both just really from an economic perspective, because obviously expert in that, but just like what do you see happening? Because we have the Israelis saying they're going to strike, and then we have the Iranians with their newest listed demands. They're going to do 7% fee, apparently up to 7% fee.
20%, like
if you cancel,
if you get canceled or you mess up, the 20% fee. If you, that I don't agree with that either. But what's your take? Like you were saying.
Well, I'm fine with it. I think that, yeah, I am. I'm totally fine with them charging a fee to manage the strait. I mean, consider
we lost.
Yeah, we lost the war. That's how it goes, right? As Trump just said a couple days ago, to the winner goes the spoils, right? So we lost the war. They get to dictate terms. But there's a thing that you got to keep in mind. They have immense incentive to have the Strait of Hormuz open as well. Like they want it open too. They want to make money off of it too. And they probably want to make money off of it even worse than we do by a large margin. So I've never felt as if the United States Navy should be securing waterways all over the world. I have always felt that it ought to be a regional endeavor, that regional powers ought to be controlling their own waterways. So I don't have a problem with that being the end result. What I have a problem with is that it's happening because we've lost yet another war in the Middle East, that we've wasted another $100 billion and immense political capital when we should have been focused on deportations and getting inflation under control. And instead we were fighting another war for Israel. Like that's what happened.
So let's say hypothetically, you're Trump, you're taking this deal. What do you think about the aftermath of taking that deal and the implications, what that means for other countries? Or, my standpoint was you give them an inch, they take a mile. I wouldn't take the deal, but if you're Trump, you're taking this.
Well, I think that he can negotiate a slightly better deal, most likely, if he were to actually treat them with any level of respect and stop sneak attacking them. I think he could have gotten, I mean, he had a much better deal on offer months ago. So, you know.
We signed it. We signed it. The thing is like he literally told the negotiators on the way home that he's going to blow up their plane. Like and that's why it stipulates an end to U.S. threats and insults. And I think that's going to be the hardest one for Trump to swallow, really. Like, seriously, I think that I don't think he has a lot of control or agency besides being able to say whatever he wants and being the president. And I think that really matters to him. I want to hear what you have to say or think about this prediction. So here's how I see it. Netanyahu, Israel, they restart the war unilaterally with Iran. They start launching missiles. Iran starts launching missiles. They get in an existential situation where it's two options. We either do American ground invasion, allied ground invasion, or we have nuclear exchange to stop the existential threat. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think there is an existential threat to us at all. I don't think that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. For Israel, like, that's going to be their excuse.
Oh, that's their argument. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that they had an existential threat either. And I think that the only existential threat is the Greater Israel Project, that they weren't going to be able to implement it unless America greatly weakened Iran, because otherwise Iran basically serves as the other regional power, the other sheriff in that neighborhood that prevents the total conquest of all of their neighbors for the Israelis. So that's my read of it. It never had anything to do with nuclear weapons. It has been. No,
I agree. Maybe I asked the question wrong. I'm saying, like, they want to launch the nuke. Like, they fantasize about it. Jonathan Pollard
in terms
talks
of them,
about it.
In terms of them using the nuke.
Them using the nuclear weapon, the nuclear option. What do you think the likelihood of that is? That's what I was asking.
I'm sorry. I don't think it's high at all.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think that Israel is already so reviled. If they were to do that, there would be a genuine catalyst for a multi-front invasion against Israel. Like, yeah. I honestly think that, you know, Turkey and Syria and Iraq and all these nations would be like, well, we've got to, like, these people are now an existential threat to the world. And I honestly, that's my perception of Israel at this point. I feel like they're an existential threat to the world. Not the, you know, average Israeli, but the, you know, Likudnik, neocon, whatever you want to call them, the elites that have these incredibly grandiose plans to conquer a huge chunk of the Middle East. I think that they're very, very dangerous people. And the fact that I'm robbed to fund them drives me up the wall.
Yeah, I don't
believe I've gone 10 minutes without cussing. I'm really proud of myself.
So. No, you're doing great. We hate paying taxes into killing little kids too. Big
that's why I almost cussed there, because I was. Yeah. it really makes me mad.
So, like, let's say Iran, or let's say Israel goes along with their plan to divorce themselves from the United States, and they continue this conflict. Do you think that this is the catalyst for a World War III situation if this gets out of hand? Or do you think, like, I'm still under the impression at some point World War III is going to happen, even though that sounds super black pill? I see it as an option on the table, but I just don't know which route is going to lead there first, whether it's China or whether it's this conflict or whether it's Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, I think that the real catalyst for a world war would be a changing of the reserve currency. And I think that is coming. So it's going to boil down to whether or not the powers that be who benefit from the US dollar are willing to allow for competition without trying to kill their competition before it takes over. And I think that's what we've been watching for the past, decade plus. And it's starting to, escalate. The temperature is increasing quite quickly. I had Trita Parsi on my show. I mean, I was actually thinking about this before he even said it to me, but the fact that he confirmed my suspicion really bothers me, is that because, and this is kind of nuanced, but I'm sure you guys will follow as I lay it out, the Ukrainian war, or the proxy war against Russia, the Ukraine war, is very, very popular on the amongst the Democrats, and very, very unpopular amongst the right wing. The exact inverse, even though the Iran war isn't very popular on the right wing, it's got virtually no popularity on the left wing, and it's got some popularity on the right wing. So because they don't have a majority support for either of those wars, I think that Zelensky and Netanyahu are now angling to combine the two, and that is my my largest.
When you say combine the two, like, in what aspect?
The front, the whole thing.
You think?
I think
wars are going to merge.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance. I mean, I think that that's what they want, because at this point, the U.S. is only, toe in the water when it comes to the Ukraine war. I mean, in terms of munitions and training and special forces, I'm sure we've got some wild shit that's going on over there, but it's really still, by our standards, that's a toe in the water. Like, we could go way, way more hard in the paint than we have. Same with the Iran war. We have not gone all out. We don't have a ground invasion force whatsoever. We haven't done it, at least. So I think that's the angle that they're trying to catalyze, is they're trying to inflame Russia into taking very provocative actions against NATO territory specifically. I think that they want to get NATO involved. I think that they want, really, when I say NATO, it's always the U.S. The U.S. is like the big dog, right? So they're trying to get the U.S. involved. And I think that because the Iran war is so unpopular, the only way they can maintain the funding for it is to combine the two, because the Democrats will vote for Ukraine funding. So that's exactly what you saw. In fact, there was a bill just a week or so ago, maybe it was 2 weeks now, merging the sanction regime against both Russia and Iran in tandem. That when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, they're doing it. They're going to merge this because that's the only way that they can get the 51 percentile.
Wow.
Ooh, that is sneaky. I didn't even catch that story. That. Yeah. When did that happen?
Like I said, 2 weeks ago, give or take.
Wow. Okay, so what is, let's say that bill hits the floor and it passes. How does that lead?
I think it already did.
Oh, okay. So talk me through the chain of what that bill means and how it would implicate it merging into a larger conflict. Like, how does that work? Well, is it just one big budget?
It's impossible to say exactly how this plays out, obviously, because I don't have a crystal ball. But sanctions are always a provocation. They always increase the likelihood of hot war between our nation and another. You saw that with Japan, the oil embargo that we placed upon them before Pearl Harbor. Like, we catalyzed that. We wanted that to happen, in my view. So I think that's
about it, certainly.
Exactly. And I think that people forget, but Japan's a fucking island. Like, you put an oil embargo against a nation that's in the middle of a war, and you go, hey, you don't have any oil now. What are you going to do about it? They're going to do something about it. Like, we're not children here, right? We all recognize that they have to survive. So they're going to try something, and they did. But I think that was intentional. Anyways, point being, I think that's the exact same thing that's happening here. I think that they are sanctioning Iran and Russia again, even more aggressively, because they are trying desperately to get Russia to overstep their bounds. They are trying to get them to move on Poland or some other NATO territory, and then have an excuse for an Article 5. That's the read I get. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I pray to God it doesn't happen. But I just don't see any reason that you would be. They were holding up the carcass of Lindsey Graham, saying we got to honor this piece of shit, and that's why we have to have these sanctions that are levied against both nations. Talk about sick motherfuckers.
Yeah, he was late in state. He was in the rotunda. His body was, and they were talking about and passing the sanctions package.
And it's crazy.
And Ted Cruz was like, "We got to honor Lindsey, this closeted homo who never saw a kid he didn't celebrate the death of." It's just like, it's insane.
Not brave enough to be gay, so he loved the bomb instead. Yeah, that's what a classic story.
When he wasn't blowing kids, he was blowing them up.
Yeah, for real. It really is crazy. Like, we have the death of Lindsey Graham and the whole conspiracy regarding that, which is, some say he died of a heart attack. Some say he was in Ukraine, and it's kind of impossible for him to get home and die of a heart attack less than 24
missile in a building. Let's just put it at that, right?
Let's see. What's your opinion just on like his legacy and ultimately his death?
Oh man, I've already said such. I'll say
I think thank God.
Yeah, I think you already got the energy. Look, I am genuinely a nice person, and I'm prefacing it because it matters. I don't like to celebrate death. I don't want to come across as a callous psychopath. The reason I celebrate the death of someone like Lindsey Graham is because he is everything that I just described. He is someone who celebrates death. He is someone who perpetrated death. He is someone who funded and pushed for additional death his entire godforsaken life, and I'm thrilled that he's gone.
We're safer. This is what I say.
Did you see that video of him documenting himself on the phone with Bibi? And he's like, yeah, if you guys need some U.S. military support, just let us know, Bibi. Like, we'll go and bomb southern Lebanon with you, man. And we'll ride together.
Netanyahu was like, we don't need to do that right now, Lindsey. And, like, he told him, like, he's so bloodthirsty, blood hungry. He's just like, bomb, murder, death.
I never thought I'd see a political figure I hated more than John McCain and than Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham ascended above him. It's really remarkable. He's a massive piece of shit. I'm so honestly, I played a huge role in starting the rumor about about the lab because I happened to be awake at like 2 a.m. when the news dropped, and I saw this other article that was totally disparate. It had no mention really of Lindsey Graham or anything like that. And then I started to do research in the middle of the night, and I was like, wait, Lindsey Graham toured this facility that was blown up by the Russians, and then we get this announcement that he died at home in the middle of the night, and I'm like, are they masking this to prevent World War III? Because they would have to escalate if Russia had intentionally blown up a U.S. senator, obviously. So I tweeted that it did 100-something-thousand likes overnight when I woke up in the morning. So I played a huge role in starting that rumor. But I just want to say, if it's true that because of one of the proxy wars that he worked tirelessly for decades to start and push and foment and escalate, if he got blown up in one of those, is there anything, like, I'm not even sure that I believe in karma, but my goodness, what a karmic ending to that son of a bitch.
Perfectly agree with you on that. And with John McCain, the Maidan coup, all the stuff that happened at Russia, like we can directly ascribe certain things to certain people where they have so much secret power to influence things, and they lead to millions of people dying. If John McCain and that whole warmongering crew didn't do the 2014 overthrow in replacing a guy, I don't think we get to this version of Ukraine where we've got 1 million+ casualties, right?
There's no chance. In my view, there's no chance that happens. I mean, yeah, I think that it's very easy to say that there are 1 million+, dead Russian and Ukrainians on their hands. And I think that you can add another 1 million Middle Easterners, be that Iraqis or Syrians or Libyans or Yemenis. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's just so much death and destruction has been wrought because of the neoconservatives, or whatever you want to call them, the war hawks.
Something I'd really like to bring back, and I was thinking about this, is all lives matter, right? But not from an American perspective of like our clash, our different divides. Just saying, hey, all lives matter. Palestinian lives matter. Lebanese lives matter. Ukrainian, Russian lives matter. Let's stop this now. I think that's a powerful message. I really want more people to identify with that. What do you think, Tim?
No, I 100% agree with that perspective. And that's why I always talk about like religion and people who use that as a mechanism to hijack people and say like, okay, you've got to do it. Like there was the military guy that went out there and said, you need to do this crusade
because signal fire for Jesus.
For Jesus, right? Like there's that. And then you've got people hijacking the narrative around like the Israel and Judaism and those types of things. You got people attaching this thing about like, well, this was promised to us, and the prophet says that, and it's the same thing with the Muslims. I mean, they talk about the Prophet Muhammad like it's a righteous crusade. You have to eliminate all of these people, and I just see this pattern coming up again and again, and that's really the reason why they said the founding fathers was like separation of church and state for this particular reason, and somehow we've forgotten about all of this.
Well, I think the bigger thing we forgot is no entangling alliances. I mean, we are 1 trillion miles away from that at this point. We've got nothing but entangling alliances, and that includes the Gulf states that you were talking about, the GCC. We shouldn't have alliances that are like this. We shouldn't have defensive pacts with these foreign nations. But yeah, I mean, I think that all lives certainly do matter. I still, as an American and an America First guy, I still look at it like my priority is America and Americans. So while I am, devastated when 170 little girls get blown up in Iran, my priority is still like, I would not weep nearly as much about that if it weren't for the fact that my country was actually launching those missiles.
Right.
Like there's too many tragedies in the world for me to concern myself with everything happening all over the world. All I can really concern myself is what is my country actually participating in? And the unfortunate reality is like most of the death and destruction that's been happening over the past 25 years has been wrought, by my government against my will every step of the way. And I'm exhausted. And so when I'm arguing with the left, I'll do the bleeding heart, all lives matter type of conversation. When I'm arguing with the right, I stick to, fiscal concerns, inflation, future for their children, economics, just because that tends to land better with right wingers.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of our show. That's why we call it the gray area. We're very much so like in that center moderate position to where it's like taking the different perspectives from either side, and it's this the political party system has made a mess out of the country. Now in 2028, new president comes in. Do you think they do right by the people? Because people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like I don't think I could rationalize going through another 4 years of like a Biden-esque or Trump-esque administration to where they just do not care about the well-being of Americans, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, what are the odds that we actually get somebody in there that genuinely cares? I'd say low. I mean, I'm
That's
just
so
being honest.
frustrating. That's so frustrating.
Well, here's the problem in my view. Like the problem is that the left is still filled with people who genuinely hate people that look like me. They hate white men. They hate straight white men particularly. They fucking despise us. So can I ally with someone like that who like on an identitarian level despises me before they even know anything about me? How am I supposed to ally with them to stop the wars and get our spending under control? Like they don't care about spending and they despise me on identitarian levels. And I don't feel either of those things, but that's how they look at me. So how are we going to ally with the distant left to actually defeat the duopoly? I think that the answer is we're not going to be able to. If we get a populist lefty that is running who has a chance of winning, that's going to be totally disconnected from my worldview when it comes to economics. It's going to be really, really bad. And it's also probably going to go back into the DEI woke nonsense, woke 2.0 or whatever they're trying to fucking rebrand it as.
That's the real black pill, is that there's not ever going to be a positive solution. It's just going to be, the extremeness on this side failed, so we're going to go back to the extremeness on this other side, whatever that means. And it's really just a sick collection of like, whether it's secular religion or Christian Zionism, they don't really have an ideological core. They don't really have anything they believe in anymore. They don't believe in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, our founding fathers. They don't care what they have to say. And if you look at these alliances with friends like these, who needs enemies? Like seriously, that's what shocks me. So
yeah, well, and I like Jimmy Dore, and I like a bunch of these scare quotes moderate lefties, Anna Kasparian, a bunch of people that I see eye to eye on when it comes to the problem that we face, the lack of sovereignty. But beyond that, our prescriptions are pretty damn different.
Well, it's because everyone thinks that they know what the solution is really what it comes down to, instead of actually taking bits and pieces of like, hey, like fundamentally, like we could at least agree on these things and at least start here and then move forward.
That's why I think the sovereignty and anti-war position is so important, is because like you can have a dinner table conversation with somebody about taxes, about military, about gun rights, stuff like that. You can't really have a dinner table conversation with somebody about like, hey, we're going to go do another genocide for another country. And I think like we got to wake up to that reality. And I get pushback from the boomers when I say the word boomer. It's like I'm saying the N word with the hard R. It's crazy. And there's something there. There's something.
Oh yeah. Anytime I bring it up, and I'm not exaggerating, every time I bring it up, I always preface it by going, if you're watching my show and you're 70 years old, I'm not fucking talking about you. I'm talking about the rest of them, right? And then they still reply to me and they go, I can't believe you're talking about boomers like that. I was like, you son of a bitch. How can you not understand nuance here? I'm talking, on averages.
Right.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
It's about the neocon spirit. And it's about where that comes from. And really, like you think about it, in the 1960s, 1970s, we were the space age military power. And
there's nationalism. We won World War II. There's all these things that come with that.
And they still think we're back there.
But air quotation.
Exactly. I agree. But they still think that we're back in that time period. And I think you could even look at 1991. We have a very different military than we did when we fought the Gulf War. It's just not the same. And our old military doctrine was that we had to be able to fight two major conflicts and one regional conflict at the same time. We can't fight two regional conflicts. Can't fight Ukraine. Can't fight Iran.
We're not even like fully fighting them. Imagine if we were actually trying to do ground invasions or large ground presence in either of those nations. I don't think we could do it. I mean, we are really in jeopardy, and that's before we even consider the economic side. I mean, the interest rates that are increasing and seemingly getting out of control, paired with the fact that while we are very weak and we're about to hit 40 trillion in national debt, we're simultaneously bailing out the yen because Japan owns so much of our treasuries that we're basically doing yield forget the term, yield curve control for our own nation by bailing out Japan in the yen, because if we don't, they'll sell off their treasuries, which will cause a spiraling or a cascading increase in our interest rates, which makes our debt carry impossible. So this is very tenuous, and we're trying to fight multiple proxy wars and escalating towards a wider, larger, hotter war simultaneously. I mean, it's pure suicide. And then you add on to that the divisions at home. I mean, we're not that far away from having crazy riots in the streets in the summer of 2020. So
yeah,
I just think it's very dangerous.
The problem with that is the hijacking of the mainstream media, pushing these particular narratives on both sides, the Fox, the CNN. Like, I go watch something on Fox and it's like they love war. They love like the conflict of a situation. Yeah. You go on CNN and they're just talking about like the racist white man. And I'm like, wait, hold on.
It's all trash. But that's the problem. Yeah. It's like that both sides feel as if they're educated and the other side is ignorant. But both of those sides are ignorant as fuck. They don't have a clue what's actually going on in this country or the world or economics, finance, history, military strategy. They don't know anything. They literally don't know anything about anything, and they all believe that they know, much more than their opposition. And it's like, and you think that we're going to be able to create some sort of unifying, third way? I just don't see it. I obviously, I hope I'm wrong. I hope people are so exhausted, but I think that if you actually listen to how the news anchors talk about it, the third way, the middle ground that you guys are talking about trying to get back to is like Mitt Romney, dude. Like that ain't what this country needs.
I like Joe Kent personally. That's
me too, man. That's Massey Kent. That's my ticket right there.
Yeah, you got to have somebody. Me and Tim discussed this at length, that was burned by the same fire that Trump stole. And like that's going to be the only answer when you have a lefty like a AOC Gavin Newsom up there on stage and say, "Hey, we're different. We promised you different things. Trump lied to you and destroyed the country." Right. You have to have someone that says, "Well, Trump lied to me too. And our values are better than yours, and that's what I stood for. That's why I resigned." I think that's a very strong pitch.
Well, here's the problem everybody's missing here is the presidency in these races are all a popularity contest. We forget that what Massey's election taught me is that X is its own echo chamber in its own right, because not enough people on the mainstream who actually are voting know or exist on X that would know how good Massey was, right? So they did was they funneled this guy on his opponent on Fox every single day, and he had all the money backing him to where he was on the TV and people associate with who they know. That's all it is, right? Because they don't really dive deep into like, this guy's got this belief system, this, and that lines up. No, like even in my old political like awakening, I at one point supported Hillary without knowing how evil she was, right? Because I came from a Democrat background. It was like, oh, I know Bill Clinton and I kind of like him, so like let's go ahead and vote for this person. And that's the calculation that a lot of these uninformed voters will do, right? So people don't know Joe Kent as well as we do. That's the problem.
When Massey made the appeal to the Fox News only households, that's when I knew it was over. Like when he said, if you're a Fox News only household, and I was like, what? Like the only source of news you get is from the TV Sean Hannity screaming at you to love Israel? Like that's how do you war against something like that? It really is the alternative media, and I do think that has grown, and it's continued to grow, and it's growing for a reason. I think it has to be paired, with a collapse to see any real change. So,
what's your take on that, Clint?
Well, I think you're going to get the collapse. So it's just that's how I've always viewed my job, is like trying to get as many people into the dissident camp as possible before the collapse, so that hopefully we have a chance at a real movement to help rebuild, from the ashes, so to speak. Hopefully not nuclear ashes, but hopefully just economic fallout, not a world war. So that is my honest opinion. And the reason I feel so strongly about that, and I know it's a very pessimistic view, but there's reason to feel that way, is that the lockdowns, man. I mean, we're not even getting justice against Anthony Fauci, not even for perjuring himself egregiously and obviously, not much less, creating a bioweapon and lying about it and funneling through EcoHealth Alliance and what's that?
He pleads the fifth. It's everything's good.
He's not guilty. Don't be racist now, all right? Even though he violated his pardon and he can't plead the fifth, we have to let him get away with it because if we don't, Trump can be attacked as well for all the pardons he's going to issue.
And that's a really astute point, and I hope your audience will take it to heart. The reason, in my view, that Trump is not going to challenge that pardon is because he intends to pardon himself and his entire family because they have rug pulled for $500 million when it comes to the Trump coin and Melania coin and additional graft through the military endeavors that have been insane. Lots of other financial maneuvering that they've been doing. I mean, they've been everybody like when he talks about, he goes, oh, the economy's great. This is the golden age. My approval rating ought to be 150%, not 100%. He's just looking at his fucking bank account, man. It ain't got nothing to do with us.
I agree with that. I think everything that he's made a decision about has been the longevity of the Trump legacy more than it has ever been about the American people. He's making this calculation like, okay, well, my sons, my daughters, their family, extended family. Okay, we make sure that this legacy exists.
Get as rich as possible.
Because I'm 80 years old. I'm probably going to die anyways in the next 10 years. So what does it matter, right? I can't change the world. This is all messed up, so I might as well just contribute to the problem.
Yeah, but I don't get that though. Like, if you're an 80-year-old man, and I think his financial status has always been a bit smoke and mirrors. I don't think he's ever been as rich as he presented himself to be. But he was a very wealthy man for decades and decades. He's been very, very wealthy, and I just can't imagine as someone with a small but reasonable net worth myself selling out the future of your nation. Like the defense of, Western values broadly, the most impressive, just shockingly created country that has ever existed, which is the United States of America, and you're just going to abandon all of that to add a couple extra zeros to the bank accounts of your kids. Like, you're a real fucking scumbag at that point. Like, you ought to go to prison for the rest of your life. That's how I feel about it. And that's not what he campaigned on. That's not what he presented himself as. And I might add, that's not what his children presented him as either. So my ire transfers from their father to the kids too. I think they're all scum of the earth. And I take this personally because I met Don Jr. and I talked to him in person for an hour and I liked him. I thought that he seemed like a legit red-pilled guy. Maybe not as red-pilled as the three of us, but certainly red-pilled. We were talking about Vegas shooting and all sorts of wild shit that I can't talk about because I said it was off the record, and it is. But I'm just saying, I had some hope. I had, after talking to him, I was like, hey, if your kid's like this, maybe you're for real. And he's just not, dude. He's just so obviously not.
Who was it that came on the show that said the reason why he thinks Trump sold on these things? Was his name Brandon?
Brandon Weichert?
Yeah, I think he came on, and his reasoning is he thinks that the Trump family, or specifically Trump, has taken some sort of money at some point in which he is now locked into a trajectory where it's like either we ruin everything that you got going on or you can continue to enrich yourself and continue to go with the narrative.
Just look at the numbers. So he's enriched himself over $2 billion personally since this began.
Four.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you serious right now?
The estimate is between 1 to 4, but I guarantee you it's on the 4.
All right, let's just say 4. And then his sons are involved in various trusts and companies that have received over $3.5 billion, like defense related. Then you look at $100,000 a month subscription to get pre-notifications on insider trading on True Social. Like it just goes on. And Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, it's just got the whole Gaza project. Like we got Anthony Aguilar on here talking about how he's seen, like the golf course plans. Like it's beyond insane. And you have to anyone in we're America first as well. Obviously care about America over other countries, but anyone that would be so sick to think about building essentially an amusement park for themselves on top of the largest open air cemetery in the 21st century, that's really sick.
These people are, I'm not very religious, but your dad, Tucker, a bunch of other people constantly talking about waging war against demons. And I'm like, yeah, when you look at this shit and you see all the death and destruction and you see how people smile and profit off of it and don't seem to lose a wink of sleep, it's just like, I don't know. You're not like me. You're not built like me. You're something else. There's something else in you that I can't relate to. I don't understand, and I feel like is destroying this world, my world too. It's really tragic, and that's why I'm such a huge booster for a guy like Massey and Joe Kent, is because I feel like those are the guys who actually represent my values, who haven't lost their souls, who went into the heart of darkness, who went into DC and managed to stand up and actually, even strengthen their resolve, as opposed to being weakened by it, as opposed to being enriched by selling out, which is what almost 99% of people that go to DC do. Like, those are the guys who have gone through the fire, proved that they're for real. If we can't create a movement around them, then we've got no shot. I mean, I'm just being totally blunt. Like, that is our only shot. And I agree with you, Tim. Like, I don't think it's probable, but I think it's mandatory. I think those are the guys we've got to boost.
I think it only comes probable is if you are able to, essentially, this is how I see it, fight fire with fire, where you do have not just like these grassroots people, but like someone with some real money and political backing that knows people that can create their own kind of conglomerate and work secretly to push that agenda.
Let me come in here really quick, because this is the thing that confuses me, is like, and this is what confused me with Trump in 2024, is like, you don't want the credit of saving America? Like seriously, you don't want the credit of ending the Ukraine war, ending the wars in the Middle East, bringing back cheap energy, ending mass migration, shutting the border down, doing the mass deportations? You don't want credit for that? The person that did that or does that, they'll build gold statues of for real.
I think they're afraid of getting JFK'd.
Yeah.
That's really, I think, what this comes down to.
And that's why I think that the devil's bargain that was offered to Trump was essentially, you can either die and you can watch your family get picked off before we kill you, or you can get rich and you can lie through your teeth and everyone will be safe. Choose. That's it. That's the choice that you got. And I think that he chose the coward's way. I mean, I think he chose to lie and profit and just pretend as if he doesn't see why we're all so fucking furious with him. And it's like, well, there's obvious reasons. You could have actually stood up for us. You could have done the right thing.
Maybe he really did have the intentions at the beginning, and they were so afraid that he was going to fulfill that promise that someone did try to assassinate him for that reason.
Look at Butler.
I think someone did try to assassinate him.
Look at Butler, and look at how if you were the president, wouldn't you want everyone to know exactly who and why and what took a shot at you? And then you think about immediately after. Think about this.
You know why, Rex? He knows who took that shot.
No, I agree with you, but think about this. Think about, I think it was the RNC right after that. I think it was like a week or two after, and that was Trump's first public appearance after all that had happened. Yep. He didn't talk about it at all, hardly. He mentioned it briefly.
He said specifically, this will be the only time I talk about this. That at the RNC, he said, this will be the only time I talk about this. Whoa. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Stupid podcast just started. I don't know what's going on. But the reason I think is because he knew right away who had taken that shot. He got the call right after, and they were like, that was us. This is what we want. Like, I don't know if we'll ever get truth serum. I don't know if we'll ever get the truth about it, but like, that's my read. Or, it was a put on. He's been a con man from the jump. It was WWE nonsense and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people go down that path. I personally don't believe that. I believe that shot was fired. Multiple seven, 8 rounds were fired. And I believe Corey Compertori lost his life. I don't think that Trump was in on it. I think Trump was scared to death by it. And he's been a shell of himself. Even rhetorically, he's been a shell of himself ever since. And that's my read. I think that was the inflection point.
The symptoms of depression can mimic the symptoms of dementia. It can mimic that. So when you see him and he's not the same, I think that's not just from a reason, like he's older, he's declined. I think he's really been cucked and broken.
Yeah. No, I think it's both. I do think that his mind is starting to go, but I think that even before that, I noticed that like his spirit had been kind of ripped from him. And I think we're all paying the price for it. And it's unfortunate because, I had a little bit of hope in JD Vance just because I like Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson seems to like JD, but I'm getting the vibe that JD's not a real boy.
Oh, JD ain't going to do it. JD ain't going to do it because JD is ultimately a reflection of Trump. And we can't have that. We can't.
Or Peter Thiel. Yeah.
Yeah, I know 100%. We can't have some. Here's my standard. Joe Kent says in his resignation letter, my wife was killed in a war manufactured by Israel. That's my line. If you say there ain't no AIPAC support coming for you, ain't no support from Israel or any of these big interests coming, like that's America first to me. If you admit the truth about what happened to you, what was done to you, that's what I want to hear from people. It's like if Trump came out today and took a selfie video of like, they're blackmailing me right now. They're going to kill me the next. Like, that's the bravest thing anyone could ever do. But they won't do it. Why?
Because he's too afraid of the aftershock. It's not just him anymore.
Dude, take the bullet. You go to
family.
Forever.
It's his granddaughter. It's there's so many layers to it where his love for them probably is greater than it would be for the average American.
Or fear of destruction of the brand. That's the real.
Well, to me, this is why I'm such a huge Joe Kent fan, is because he demonstrated that courage. And I think that the truth is that you either have that or you don't. You know, you're either built that way or you're not. Like, your dad is built that way. I see it every time he talks about this shit. I'm like, he would die for this country. He would die for freedom. Joe Kent is one of those guys. I believe Thomas Massey is one of those guys. Donald Trump isn't, and he never was. He has always been interested in self-aggrandizement and, profiting and building a financial legacy for his family. And, hey, that's all right. If you're that guy, go be that guy. Don't fucking run for president, though. Don't put yourself up there as if you're some super soldier who's willing to sacrifice something to save this country, because you ain't that guy.
That was an ego play, though. That was Obama made that monster, right? You talk about the
2012 White House
correspondence dinner, and he basically mogs Trump, and Trump is just sitting there seething, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna become president, and I can't wait till you hand me the keys to the castle, right?
Yep.
That's really what drove that.
This is the weird thing about Trump is, like, everything that the left, the detractors to Trump, the people who warned about him being a fascist dictator for forever now, a decade straight, he has never demonstrated that type of vengeance. Like, if he were that guy, he won. All right, you're the president. Like, where are the prosecutions? Why aren't you going after Obama and Hillary and all these other people that try to make your life miserable? You're not even going after the FBI, the CIA, the deep state that actually tried to put you in prison.
That's the handshake. That's why.
I think that's exactly right. And I think it also tells us most likely that either Trump is just a softie, or the president actually doesn't call the shots. Like, that's just not actually how the system is structured at least at present. Not to say that, like, if you were to actually get a dissident figure like a Thomas Massey in there or Joe Kent, maybe if you aren't owned, and you're willing to tell people to shove it up their ass, like, maybe you could actually get some shit done. I don't know. Like, I don't actually know if our system works for real, because I think that everybody that has been in there, from Trump to Biden to Trump to Obama to Bush to Clinton, I think that they're all like CIA cutouts. Like, they're not real people. So I do not know if our system is salvageable, and it pains me to feel that way, but I have nothing to compare it to say, like, oh, well, if we got this guy in here, he could actually make a difference. I think a lot of people felt like Trump was that attempt, and we ain't seeing much different.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys. Do you think the calculation has to be now that, like, we have to allow, like, a whole changeover of the generations to where, like, even these dark figures, quote unquote, who probably still have the same ideology, have to die off, and then the new generation, like, because we're Gen Z, right? Like, we're not.
Oh, you little babies, I love it.
We didn't grow up. Yeah, we didn't grow up with, like, loving war and those types of things. Or do you think that that's not even a possibility because they're already training up the next people to carry on the mission, kind of like George Soros is training his sons?
There's always going to be predators.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, Brylan Hollyhand is like the gay cucked Charlie Kirk, right? Like they are already creating their next, what's it called? Not Potemkin Village. What's it called when you have the fake president?
Manchurian candidate.
Yeah, they're already creating their Manchurian influencers, right? So they're doing that. But the thing is like, it's working less and less. Like, I'm having immense success as an independent guy, no financial backing. I have limited even sponsors that run ads on my shows, and I'm still an entity, like a real entity. That's crazy. Like, that's a very historically, that was basically unheard of. I didn't come from a media family. I was a fucking mortgage broker, dude. Like I had no business.
You started talking. You started
Yeah,
talking, and people showed up because people want to hear the truth, and that's what it's all about.
Exactly. And I'm not going to downplay. I got a lot of help from a lot of people that I respect, like Dave Smith and Tom Woods and Scott Horton, and a bunch of other people. Lately have been boosting me, like Ian Carroll, Baron Coleman. So it's basically just networking, right? But it's like people who just hear a clip or start to check me out or come on my show and they go, oh, this dude's like kindred spirit. I like this guy. And they boost me. But anyways, point being, I'm able to reach 50 to 100,000 every episode. Like that's fucking crazy. That's not going to change the world. It's not going to, totally tilt the battlefield in our favor. But I'm just saying, try to get Brylan Hollyhan to get that many people listening to every show. Like, it ain't gonna happen ever.
Right? They have to use the money and they have to use the engine. And like, here's the thing about Charlie Kirk, right? Charlie Kirk dying, you lose the brain of an organization, the largest youth campaigning office or operation in America. 1,000 independent campaigning offices, like I assume thousands, tens of thousands plus volunteers, people that are working with you guys, or not you guys, but like working with TPUSA, working with them, and then they can just plug in a Brylan and say, here you go, here's your new guy, and eat up the slop.
Yeah. Even
it doesn't work though, brother. That's what I'm saying. Like they're doing it with Erica right now. And it's like, it ain't working. It's going terribly. And all of their influencers are taking immense reputational damage, from Benny Johnson to Posobiec, like down the line. Everybody who's been, fed slopping is just fucking suffering terribly. Their reputations are in the shitter.
Even no one watches Ben Shapiro anymore. Like
that's what I'm saying.
He's gone. He's lucky to do like a 10K on a YouTube video now.
They're all in decline, and everybody in our camp is on the ascendancy. Like that to me is the largest reason for optimism. It's not the political apparatus. It's not even necessarily elections or democracy. It's that we are winning hearts and minds slowly but surely. And as long as we have some semblance of an even playing field when it comes to the algorithms, which is not a guarantee, because we all went through 2020 through 2022 and it was a fucking nightmare. I was nuked from YouTube. I was triple struck and suspended from X more times than I could count, aka Twitter back then. So that is not a foregone conclusion. But as long as we have an even playing field, we will crush these people over time. Like we will crush them, which is why they will not give us an even playing field for long, as we've seen with many, many figures.
I agree.
But I think it's going to be a lot harder to go down the suppression route, because even if you look at like Meta and Facebook and Instagram is getting very lenient with the things that people are talking about. I'm like, people are throwing the N-word around on there, like hard ER. You got people saying like all types of stuff.
Music to my ears. Sorry, but I love it. I love it when people start to say like shit that you're just definitely not supposed to say. Like that to me is like the punk rock Americanism that
that's the thing.
I long for.
That's the thing about free speech though, is like they'll demonize you for like making a joke or like doing whatever, but then you're not allowed to talk about the genocide. Like that's why I just say you're not censoring me, because the people that want to censor us are the same people that kill people with our money.
Right.
Yeah. Like please, tell me about your morality.
What do you think? What do you guys think is going to happen as the independent movement is growing? Like shows like your show, Clint, our show,
Liberty Lockdown.
I mean, even your dad with Alex Jones Network has, even after InfoWars shut down, couldn't stop the man. Like he literally just built another one bigger and better.
Are you? Oh, that's great to hear. I had no idea.
Dude, we're doing phenomenal. I just hosted. I did my dad's show on Sunday. I did 4 to 6 today, so we could spend some time with my little sister and my grandma. It's her birthday today. So shout out to my grandma. Happy birthday to her. But I held down the fort. We've been holding down the fort there. It's really inspiring to see what that crew has been able to do in such a small space. So
yeah,
it's tremendous, man.
You're 100% correct on that. And just the calculation, I think you're 100% right. Down the line, as the mainstream continues to do this, and I know so many people who just don't even have cable anymore. So where are they going to actually watch
to the internet,
the Fox and CNN? Well, they're trying to get into the YouTube. They're trying to get onto X. They're trying to break into these spaces, but they're not entertaining enough to capture that audience.
It's not an entertainment issue. It's an honesty issue. Like anybody who's actually seeking out the truth can sniff out a con man very, very rapidly. And as long as you have other options of like genuinely truthful people, well, then Ben Shapiro, who gives you 70% truth, suddenly seems like an overt, constant liar. because you are accustomed to someone who's telling you 95 to 100% truth, right? And you're like, but Ben Shapiro 15 years ago, when he was telling you 70% truth, he was a breath of fresh air, right? Because he, like, compared to the corporate media who's giving you 25% truth, that's a dramatic improvement. But now Ben Shapiro can't compete. Daily Wire can't compete. Glenn Beck can't compete.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all of these people are taking a dirt nap because they are not sovereign either. Just want to, emphasize that point.
Talking to AI George Washington ain't gonna save you.
Yeah, we gotta go to war with Iran because AI George Washington told us to. You fucking bum, Glenn Beck. I used to respect you, you piece of shit.
He's heavily mutated.
So how do these shows protect themselves from getting kind of brainwashed? Because I would say, like, Tim Pool was one of these guys I used to think was like, he was on the cutting edge. He was saying a lot of the right things, and somehow as he got bigger and bigger, I don't recognize the same guy. Same with Patrick Bet-David. I can't listen to them anymore as much as I used to. Like, I used to love Patrick Bet-David. Now it's just a circle jerk where they're just throwing it on Trump or whatever conservative thing that they have to say. Like, it's
like,
just
Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker is the gravest threat that we face in America. It's like, dude, no one wants to hear that shit. We all know that's nonsense. It's the mirror image of the other people who are saying Nick Fuentes is the greatest danger that exists in America. Everybody who's actually paying attention knows that ain't it. Right. Neither of those figures actually matter compared to the real crisis that we face. 40 trillion in debt, multi-front, proxy wars, if not hot wars. The fact that we aren't sovereign, the fact that we continue to wage wars and blow $10+ trillion on wars in the Middle East on behalf of Israel. Like, that is the actual crisis we face. And you're not going to, so to your point, yeah, Tim Pool, former friend of mine, I would still consider him a friend. I don't know if he would look at me that way anymore, but yeah, him, PBD, like, they are all, in my view, trying to take the path of, like, proximity to power. And you can't.
Access journalism.
Yeah, you can't do that in this game. Like, if you want to be buddy with Donald Trump and JD Vance, and honestly, and I love Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's taking the same path, and it's destroying his reputation too.
Yep.
Because he is trying to be buddy with Trump and JD Vance and Peter Thiel and all these guys, and it's just like, as soon as you go down that path and you can't be the Tim Dillon just ripping into these people left and right, you got a real problem. You got a real problem on your hands.
How great is Tim Dillon? We love him.
Oh, he's the best, man. He's the best.
It's phenomenal.
Wow.
But phenomenal interview,
This
right?
has been a phenomenal show. Hey, what I realized is that I think a lot of people are not collabing enough to, like, have these types of conversations. And these are things that we want to continue doing forward. So we want to have you back on for sure again.
Sure.
I think that this was definitely eye-opening just to get your perspective, but just to understand that, like, you haven't switched up. I can see you believe what you say, man. So
yeah, that's literally, like, that's the differentiator between myself and so many of my competitors is that I am telling you the truth 100% of the time, and they're not. And I will win every single time because my audience, they suss that out over time. It's just,
right.
It just couldn't be more obvious.
Gotta get them on
I think that's the trend line, man. That's the reason I'm optimistic.
Yeah, dude, we got to have you not just back on Gray Area, got to get you on Alex Jones Network as well. Would love to have you on as a guest, do another segment with you. I think we're all kind of reaching that same place, realizing, like, we have to be the change. Like, we have to inspire. Exactly. We have to inspire the people to want the truth. So
yeah, my dad just died a year or about 11 months ago now. And I think that was it's ironic because my show just absolutely exploded in popularity, like, right after he passed. And I think it's because I poured more of myself into it than I had ever done before. And, as you can tell, because I'm a second-gen libertarian, I was in this in part because of my dad. And I definitely, I feel like I'm, carrying that mantle, but I agree with your assessment. It is our time. I'm old compared to you young guys, but it is our time, regardless, to actually take that mantle. If we're going to save this country, if we're going to save the concepts of free speech and privacy rights and gun rights and everything that really differentiates us from the rest of the world, it's on us. There's nobody's coming to save us. We all have to be in this fight and actually mean it. And anybody who's pretending to be in this fight, who's a fraud, who's pretending to be our ally but is not, who's doing the access journalism shit, ultimately, at the end of the day, they are your enemy. And I think people are waking up to that fact. And it's unfortunate because I know many of those people and I consider them personal friends. But at the end of the day, when it comes to, like, are we actually going to prevail? Are we going to save this country or aren't we? the answer is, if we're relying on them, no, we will not prevail. So that's the realization I've had over the couple years now.
Wow.
Powerful.
Where can people watch you? Is you're on YouTube? I know.
Yep.
Do you stream on X as well, or are you're more like a YouTube guy?
Yeah, I've got a show on Rumble, but nobody watches it there. So YouTube is definitely the spot. Liberty Lockdown. A lot of people watch it on Spotify too, surprisingly. So Liberty Lockdown on Apple and Spotify. And I've done Harrison Hill Smith's show a bunch of times. And when I used to co-host a show with Luke Rutkowski, we had Alex on a few times. So that was a real thrill for me. But yeah, happy to do whatever you guys want in the future. And I really appreciate the invite. And I'm thrilled to see some young guys with their heads on straight. So keep crushing it.
Likewise. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you.
Definitely.
Catch you on the next one.
Yes, sir. We get the best guests. We do the best interviews.
Fantastic.
Great area.
Fantastic. We got a lot of things. I want to get that last bit that he said. We'll clip that up. I think that was a phenomenal way to end that segment. You guys go ahead, subscribe to Clint.
Please follow him, Liberty Lockdown. Give him a shot. Give him a follow. Listen to him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Listen to him on YouTube. Here's the thing: is like everyone's realizing the access journalism thing, the Chuckle Buddy Club. It's not where you want to be. Okay, it's really not where you want to be, and it's just so sad. We have people like PBD, Tim Pool, Rogan, who have really decided, like, oh, I can just be a fence sitter, but there's no such thing as being a neutral actor.
Yeah,
you can't do it.
Yep.
You can't, like, when you are, and I hate the term influencer. I'm not an influencer. I'm a broadcaster, philosopher, analyst, researcher. Like, that's the titles that I give myself. But if you are influencing other people's opinion, you are not doing that in a neutral way. All right. Like, I don't do it neutral. I'm liberty, freedom, peace, justice, America first. That's what I'm not neutral at all. Like, that's my platform. You know, it's just, it is what it is, man. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Just chill out, man.
Oh my God.
Country's going to shit, but like, we're gonna be all right, man.
Dude, and they're smoking too much weed. They're smoking too much high grade marijuana.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna be a phenomenal week for guests, by the way, guys. So we just had Clint. On Tuesday morning, we're having George Galloway on the show. Huge, legendary guy. He's been around for a very long time. We got Michael Tracy coming on Thursday night.
That'll be nuts. That's going to be WWE.
Nah, like, I don't want to ambush him because I did say that we're pretty moderate in our positions. I know you're going to have...
he's the #1 Epstein apologist. Okay, we're having the #1 Epstein apologist in the world on the show on Thursday. We're going to test some of our ideas.
Right.
So this is not an echo chamber, circle jerk.
This is true.
We do all sorts of things. Like tomorrow... Like, I'm having Adam Green on in the morning, talk about Ukraine, Charlie Kirk. We very much disagree on those subjects. That's what makes this show and just our own network different, right? Is that, like, we challenge our ideas because we want to get stronger.
Yes.
It really creates an environment where you do kind of like Timcast, for example, like where you have this atmosphere where everyone kind of just agrees on everything.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that. Like, I will say for PBD, the original dynamic of PBD, Adam, Vinny worked very good. I don't know what the hell happened.
Tom was good too.
Tom's great, but I don't know what happened. Now it's become Adam's show.
What happened was once they did that interview, everything shifted completely to where they, like he was saying, wanted to keep that access. So that's what I had seen from my perspective on why they switched up. And Adam provides like this, like, entertainment aspect where people hate him so much
that
like he gets the views, and just to see the beef, like they just won't get rid of him.
I hate watching.
Even though he has terrible takes sometimes, you know, I don't even hate Adam. I think I would love to have him on the show at some point and just talk. But overall, I think the way that these things go is very complex. Because once you start taking sponsorship money too, that also comes into play. Like,
it's the authority. It lays authority. You should question authority. Always question authority. And like that's the thing. You'll always see us do that. Dude, I'm so tired. Can you do the deep dive by yourself?
Yeah, I could do a deep dive. I
appreciate it.
So here's the thing, guys. We're not done yet here. Wes, go ahead and pull that up real quick. We get some people.
Oh, dude, we got a plug. Holy crap. Yeah, we got a ton of people in here, a ton of new people. You got to follow Gray Area Talks on X. We got a link tree right there. We got the YouTube. We got the Rumble. Follow across all platforms. If this is your first time seeing this show, this is one of the best shows, if not the best show on the entire internet, okay? You have to go there right now. You gotta do it. It's incredible. I hate them. I hate them, but I love them at the same time. They do the best show ever. You gotta follow Gray Area Talks. Look at YouTube right there.
Yeah, and most of you guys are watching on Rex's profile right now. Literally, go to the link in his bio. Gray Area is linked in there. You just go on, subscribe to that. Then there's a link tree in Gray Area. If you want bonus points, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube and Rumble. Those are growing rapidly as well. And genuinely, these things help. I can't understate. I can't explain this enough. The fact that you guys have been so supportive is why why we're getting these people on the show to have amazing type of takes, right? We're almost at 4K on YouTube.
Incredible.
If you guys want to help us get to the 4K mark, that is fantastic. I think we only need 50 people, right? Same thing with X. We're almost at 5K on X. We need like 50 of you guys to go and subscribe.
Let's plug you as well. Truism Tim, linked in my profile. Go follow Tim. Here's the thing. When we DM people, it helps us get guests. This is really what it's all about.
I've been DMing like crazy, and then these guys are giving me a response. It's starting to happen. And it comes from the support. They look at my profile, they're like, who's this guy? Okay, yep, all right. Let's do it.
And it's also like we put out that this is really the thing. Like I told you at the beginning, it's just you put in more work, you do more shows, you do. It's like he said, like when his dad died, he just poured more of himself into what he was doing. That's what I've done this whole year. I said in February, like whenever we started doing American Journal, that I will be live every single day this year. I'm like 95% there.
Yeah, you've been committed.
I have been live if you count 2 days, I've been live every single day this year.
Yeah.
So like this is what we do. This is professional shit here. So
it
you
is.
want to be a part of it.
100%. People are asking what the deep dive is going to be on. It's going to be about Fauci, guys. We're covering all the extra dark stuff about him. It sucks because there's some good stuff in here that you should learn, that you would definitely want to know.
All right, here's the thing. Let's go ahead and intro the deep dive. I'll stay until 9:30. I need sleep because I got that.
Yeah, tap out whenever. Give me a second, guys. I gotta go get changed as per usual. Yeah. So we will be back in about 60 seconds or so, 2 minutes tops. I gotta get changed real quick.
I am the father of the vaccine. I created it. It's my creation. The vaccine.
So we're gonna be going through all his dirty laundry is what this is gonna be about. Why this pardon went back to 2014 made no sense to me, and I'm like, what happened in 2014, right? There's also things that he did prior to 2014 that don't get talked about enough. So we're going to be covering all of that, all the conflict of interest, the corruption. It's some dark stuff, man, but we got to cover it. So we'll be right back. Wes, take us to the waiting room real quick. right, good. Give me 1 second. All right, guys.
The father of the vaccine and the mother, Dr. Anthony.
You got the schmutz on your face, and you
Can't
just
wear the
have
mask.
to. You can't wear the mask, and I plead the fifth. So, when we talk about Fauci, dude, I have no respect for this guy anymore.
No.
I can't get behind any of these things, and it just makes me realize there's just more people like that. But we gotta air his dirty laundry out, because that's what's currently going on. So let me do this real quick.
We had that whole discussion on like what it means for him to be pardoned. It means that he has to answer the questions asked to him because like he's cleared, right? So he's impeding an investigation because there's no reason for him not to answer the question because he's protected.
Exactly. And speaking of pardons, that's where we're gonna start here. Wes, go ahead and let's pull up the pardon, because this is where the whole story started for me. I was just like, all right. So when we talk about the pardon, go ahead and pull that up for everybody. We'll read a little bit of this. So you see, oh, Rupert, come on, buddy. We got the doggy in here crying. So scroll down. Yeah. So he says a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States which may have committed or taken part during the period from January 1st to 2014 through the date of this pardon. Unbelievable. And so, you can say when you talk about full unconditional pardons, I mean, it doesn't name like a single charge here. It's just a blanket like get out of jail free card, which is absolutely wild. So then it led me down the rabbit hole. I'm like, what the hell did this guy do?
2014, by the way.
I was like, yeah, what did this guy do? Okay. So before we even go into that, I got to show you guys a breakdown of like his involvement and the organization he was with. And just, it's a nice little flow chart that we have that I created so that you can understand how it all is intertwined and connected. So let's go ahead and pull up that image. I think it's, what is it called? The NIAD, hierarchy. Yeah, we're going to pull this up. Pull that up. So I made this so that you guys can really follow along here because this is going to be important, okay? So, I mean, the first thing here is these names kind of get confusing, but basically the NIH is the federal government's like main medical research agency. And then basically what they do is they take taxpayer money to university and they give it to universities, labs, and scientists. And so that NIH sits inside of smaller branches, and one of them is NIAD, and they focus on like infectious diseases and allergies and immune systems. So you can just see the flow chart. You got the U.S. Department of Health Services. This is the thing that like where your tax money comes from originally. They have this massive budget.
Huge.
And then it funnels down into the NIH, right? Okay. And then from there, you got the NIAID. And that is where Fauci sits. He was literally the director of this department from 1984 to 2022.
Seems to be a bit extreme. That's like a dictatorship almost. Like, why is it? Why we never got another guy in there to do the job?
Nope. And I mean, for 4 decades, that's insane.
Dude, he literally like murdered the gay people with AIDS. He's like, here, take cancer drugs.
Oh, we're gonna cover that and more. So then I want to pull up the video. We're gonna do a little introduction to who Anthony Fauci is, a little background history, a little story, because it makes sense once you understand the history. So let's go ahead. We'll pull that up.
Wait. Did you, when you were a kid, I guess you were probably a little too old because I'm younger than you. You never watched Phineas and Ferb, did you?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Like Dr. Doofenshmirtz origin stories? I was just a little boy. He's Dr. Doofenshmirtz, bro.
No, that you're 100%.
Perry the Platypus.
Yeah, we're Perry the Platypus trying to expose him right now. So let's go ahead and we'll pull up that YouTube video. Yeah, go ahead and roll the clip.
I love
Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases in 1984, a position he still holds today. His role as a top advisor for the government on health concerns has spanned 6 presidents. and has focused on research for a multitude of viruses and illnesses, including HIV, AIDS, SARS, Zika, Ebola, tuberculosis, and malaria. In 2008, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from George W. Bush. He now spends his days briefing reporters and advising the president and vice president, while continuing to do additional work as the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He's long been known for his extreme work ethic, and he certainly hasn't slowed down while working on the coronavirus pandemic. He told the New York Times that his current schedule involves working about 20 hours a day. On a recent episode of the New York...
You guys see the propaganda here?
He ain't working 20 hours a day. What are you talking about?
I'm sure he works hard.
Covering up his lies,
yeah,
maybe.
I was gonna say, I'm sure he works hard, but just not on what we need, right? Like, dude, this is just a background, but this is, just keep in mind, this is like propaganda slop, and people will watch this and be like, oh my God, I love this man.
Dude,
He's the best guy ever.
You know better than me because you were up north, Yankee. But you were you were
Cut
up
back
north.
just real quick.
You were up north. They worshipped him. They worshipped Fauci.
Oh yeah, it was like God, and then it was Fauci, and it was like
God is below. That's right.
And you literally could not go anywhere without somebody either bringing up his name, seeing him on the TV. And that came from all of these mainstream media companies just pushing his name out there because he became the face. Like he was more synonymous with it.
He was a movie star.
Yeah.
He was the guy. Like, I remember when Trump would be doing the press conferences and he would show up and Trump, I guess maybe it was in order to like deflect responsibility.
It was for sure.
You know what I'm talking about though? The attitude. It's like, oh my gosh, Fauci is here. He was super weird. And Trump was doing it too. It wasn't just Biden.
Biden did it too. Trump did it. But what Fauci represents is people respect authority when it's somebody who sounds smart and knows what they're talking about. So people like trust that person more because, oh, he's an expert. And I believed all of that stuff,
the
guys.
experts are in charge.
100%. We'll play a little bit more, but like just this guy's been around for every presidency, and COVID just shot him to the stratosphere as far as popularity. But he's been around.
Nice as well. He does not look like a friendly guy. He looks very mean.
Times podcast The Daily, Fauci said, "I'm with the vice president for hours at a time. I see the president himself at least an hour a day, and maybe more. And then I go back home and I have 1,000 things to do. And then you're lucky if you get to go to bed before midnight."
Okay. Just remember here, if you're spending that much time at the White House, the amount of influence that you have is just unmatched because even the president doesn't really know what things are about. He relies on advisors to make his decisions. But we'll talk about one of the things that you were mentioning, and the Institute became a major source of money for basically like AIDS research, vaccines, biodefense, and dangerous virus research. And so, I mean, the AIDS virus was what made him popular to begin with. We'll go ahead and we'll play that clip. This is him talking about AIDS back in the, I think this was back in 1985. Yeah. Good. Let's go ahead and play this clip of him addressing the AIDS, basically call it an epidemic.
Yeah.
But.
Whoa.
Can you give any kind of an educated guess about how long it might be before some kind of cure is found?
Again, it's very difficult to do that. I can tell you that there are some agents that clearly have been shown to suppress the replication of the virus. This is a very unique virus because even if you block its ability to replicate, it also has the unique ability to hide or live within the cells, such that you might suppress its multiplication, but you might not ever be able to completely rid the body of the virus unless perhaps the body's own defenses come in and do that.
Yeah, so...
Like herpes.
Yeah, and the problem is that, like, as him stepping into these positions and the money's flowing in, I mean, people credit him with, like, figuring out how to, like, get rid of AIDS. It's still around. Like, It's not like he
Dude,
fixed it.
It's not even that. Like, he promoted remdesivir, which is, I'm sure you got that in there as well, which is a cancer drug, and it destroys organs and kidneys specifically on record. So you have these people that are rapidly deteriorating, right?
Yep.
And instead of, and look at the movie Dallas Buyers Club, that's literally like Fauci's the villain in that movie. There were underground networks of doctors that were giving people actual drugs that would actually help them. And Fauci was pushing things that he was financially connected to.
Yeah.
That were harmful.
No, you're 100% right.
The same drugs were pushed during COVID.
No, you're actually
That's so scary.
You're 100% right about that, because there is a conflict of interest when it comes to the money. So I mean, like, Fauci had only recently taken over NIAID, and that when AIDS and made the institute one of the most important medical research groups in the company because of the AIDS research. So like the treatments and the drug trials that Rex is talking about, there was a lot of things that they were doing with that research where they didn't actually solve the problem. They were really actually killing people and killing innocent animals, essentially, to be able to develop that research. And I mean, it basically gave Fauci's agency power over which ideas received money. Essentially, when you're talking about like research and finding vaccines and finding issues, like, he became the main guy here. Okay. So when we talk about conflict of interest, this is where the paper trail starts. This is the part where I'm like, hold on. He had to be making money, and not just him, all these other people that are associated with him. And he did go on trial for this. Remember, he was on, he came on trial recently. He's like, well, I have always cooperated with the government on everything, and I've been on trial numerous times, and I've told the truth. But as you're about to see here, this tells you everything that you guys need to know about who this guy is, and he does not answer any of the questions that Rand Paul does.
111.
Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and roll this. This is actually prior to. This is something else he was on trial for.
No way.
Yeah, this is different.
The NIH continues to refuse to voluntarily divulge the names of scientists who receive royalties and from which companies. Over the period of time from 2010 to 2016, 27,000 royalty payments were paid to 1,800 NIH employees. We know that not because you told us, but because we forced you to tell us through the Freedom of Information Act. Over $193 million was given to these 1,800 employees. Can you tell me that you have not received a royalty from any entity that you ever oversaw the distribution of money in research grants?
Well, first of all, let's talk about royalty.
That's the question. No, that's the question. Have you ever overseen it?
When you have to say, the next words that come out of your mouth are complete bullshit.
Right. I just want to make a point.
Come back to us
When
real quick.
Rand Paul's asking that question, he's asking that question as a United States Senator. He represents an entire state. You will answer the question on behalf of, I believe, Kentucky. You will answer the question. So, yeah.
Just watch the level of gaslighting Fauci does here. Go ahead and go back to it.
I plead the fifth of vodka.
Have you ever received a royalty payment from a company that you later oversaw money going to that company?
You know, I don't know as a fact, but I doubt it.
Well, here's the thing is, why don't you let us know? Why don't you reveal how much you've gotten and from what entities? The NIH refuses. Look, we ask them. The NIH, we ask them whether or not, who got it and how much. They refuse to tell us. They sent it redacted. Here's what I want to know. It's not just about you. Everybody on the vaccine committee, have any of them ever received money from the people who make vaccines? Can you tell me that? Can you tell me if anybody on the vaccine approval committes ever received any money from people who make the vaccines?
Soundbite number one. Are you going to let me answer a question? Okay, so let me give you some information.
Pause it. Okay. This is literally like Pam Bondi level of like,
Yes.
they go, here's the equation here. They start going on the offensive because they know they can't answer to the question that's being asked.
Right.
So if you
He wants to pontificate.
if you hurl insults, right, it gives you some time to think. Maybe it's a smoke screen. It's just everyone knows when you have to sit here and you just can't answer a simple question, black or white, you're full of shit. It's as simple as that.
I'll take you back to Bill Clinton. it depends on what the definition is like they'll do it at that level, like where they're just like, well, you remember Andrew Wilson's like, oh, what's a black swan event? And it, like we described what it was, and he was like, that's not what it means. And it's just like, well, we just destroyed you. You don't want to admit that was true.
Right.
So like, it's just ridiculous.
The level of genjitsu they think they can just pull. You're not going to look behind this curtain. You're not going to expose my corruption. It's like, I can't fathom these things sometimes. And it's like,
well, he literally, dude, like he was, if you look behind him, he's got the Washington Nationals, I guess it's a baseball team, right? He's got that behind him. He was throwing the first pitch at a baseball game.
Unreal.
He was doing celebrity stuff. He was going on shows. Like he was having fun as people were dying.
Yep.
From his policies.
Yep.
Literally.
And by the way, we're talking about just COVID. We didn't even talk about all the other people that were affected by all the other drugs that they were researching that weren't working as advertised and also caused problems to people.
Yeah, he's making the money.
Not just him. A lot of fucking doctors were making a lot of money, and that's what he's on trial for. We'll wrap this one up. Go ahead and watch a little bit more.
Are you going to let me answer a question? Okay, so let me give you some information. First of all, according to the regulations, people who receive royalties are not required to divulge them even on their financial statement, according to the Bayh-Dole Act. So let me give you some example. From 2015 to 2020, the only royalties I have was my lab and I made a monoclonal antibody for use in vitro reagent that had nothing to do in patients. And during that period of time, my royalties ranged from $21 a year to $700 a year. And the average per year was $191.46.
Yeah, it's all redacted, and you can't get any information on the 1800 scientists.
Your time is
good.
So he just said, I don't have to tell you, but let me give you one example. What a scumbag.
He's like, let me find the smallest amount of money.
I'm not obligated to tell you, but let me tell you about this one example that he's reading it. He's reading
Look over here. Look over here.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about the royalties. So the royalty is money that's paid for the right to use an invention, right? So the taxpayers fund scientists at NIH, and then those scientists help create a treatment or medical technology, and then the NIH can license them to a private company, right? And so then that's where the kickback happens. And it's basically like, and the NIH can give that money directly to the government, scientists listed as inventors. So pull up this this graphic that I made here that shows you kind of the conflict chain, the conflict of interest chain of how they're getting paid off of these royalties and the money that is being siphoned from Americans. Okay. So we're going to start at the beginning here at number 1.
You want me to read it?
Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah,
go ahead.
All right. So number 1, taxpayers fund NIH. Taxpayer dollars are appropriated by Congress and given to them. NIH scientists do research. Scientists at NIH conduct research with the taxpayer money. The invention or discovery is made. The research leads to a new invention, method, or technology. Then the NIH patents or licenses the invention. The invention is patented, often through the government, and licensed to a company. Company pays NIH royalties. And then the scientists receive royalty payments, a portion of those royalty payments. And the NIH may also fund, oversee the testing.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And the thing about it is that the inventions can receive the royalty checks, and then that same agency also funds or oversees the testing that decides whether the product works. Okay? So the same system that can fund it, own it, license it, and test it, they pay the same people who created it. It's like one big blob of just circle jerking here, because
and the private companies also fund too, as well.
And cut back to us real quick. I want you guys to understand something here. Say you knew you were going to make a lot of money if you invented something and you said, well, it does what it's supposed to do. Would you not try to create as much would you not try to invent as many things as you could so that way you could get the kickback every single time?
Right. Well, this molecule may not be the best, but you know what? We made it and they made money off it. So maybe they want another one like it. And that's kind of how you go down that route. And the best drugs that we have are all generic. They're cheap. They're very cheap to make. And all the expensive, kooky, crazy stuff, oftentimes it doesn't work the best.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Now, if I look at, let me see. Dude, I love this stuff. You guys have no idea. I didn't know any of this until I really started going
well
in.
prepared deep dive. You've gotten better at preparing these for sure. This is
So
crazy.
now we got to go into the history here. Wes, go ahead and pull up that article. It's number. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm
having fun with this one, actually. It's pretty. It gave me some energy back.
Gave you some energy.
It's so insane.
Yeah, so go to number 7, that CBS AP article. And we're going to go down to the part that says 916 researchers received $8.9 million just in 2024. I mean, just in 2004 alone. Let me see. Maybe I got to Command F that.
Yeah, to search for the word.
2004.
Letters.
There we go. Yeah, Control F and then search for 2004. Oh, it's right there at the top.
Okay, so.
No, it's not. Control F and then search 2004.
So in all,
there you go.
900.
Now scroll up a little bit because we're going to read at the beginning. Yeah, okay. And yep, right there is fine.
In all, 916 current and former NIH researchers are receiving royalty payments for drugs and other inventions they develop while working for the government. They can collect up to $150,000 each a year, but the average is around 97 to 110 grand, officials said. In 2004, all right, so think about how much has grown. The researchers collected a total of 8.9 million. Only a dozen received a legal maximum. The government owns the patents, and scientists are listed as inventors so they can share in licensing deals struck with private manufacturers. In addition to the inventor's take, the government received 55.9 million in royalties for the same inventions and put that money back in research. Fauci and Lane have each received 45 grand in royalties since 1997 when the government licensed the treatment they invented to a drug maker, Chiron Corp. Both doctors said they, too, were concerned about the appearance of a conflict of interest since the NIH division they oversee has been spending $36 million to test interleukin-2 on patients. As a result, they took steps on their own to address the problem. We scroll down a little bit.
Yeah.
While NIH delayed in enacting a policy, for instance, the NCI was brought in to independently review and approve the research in advance. Who wrote this? Fauci himself? Fauci, I tried to give the money back. I tried to do it. And the thing is, like, he stated, you watch the video, he doesn't have to tell you about all the deals. So this is just one of
one
of the probably hundreds of deals.
Yeah, I'm pointing out something that's happening in like 2004. Just understand
pattern of behavior.
Yeah, the pattern of behavior. This is teaching you the psychology of the system and these people. And by the way, just because he tried to give the money back this time, he increased his salary dramatically by the time he was working there. So he's making
he kept getting paid more and more.
He's making like just from his salary like $500,000 a year just off of that. Then think about the royalties, think about all the other things, the celebrity esque appearance, all the conversations that he's involved with. This guy is making money at the end of the day.
And he shouldn't be. He should
just
be a
like our
civil servant.
politicians.
Yeah, like, do we have people out there that are such good doctors, such good medical people that would be honorable and would say, I'm a servant of the country. I want to make the country healthy, protect the country. And then there's someone like this that wants to, get biddies and make money. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but it's very emblematic of who we are as a country
right
now.
So, we talked about the 45K, which is
we
like
can have a cool black science guy. Come on. Why not? Why? Let's try something.
Sign me up, baby.
Let's try something different.
I could use an extra mil,
Yeah, we got to develop something.
I'm gonna what should I invent, guys?
You should invent the cure for neocons.
I was about to say, you are in my brain right now. I was going to invent a boomer treatment. I was going to invent a boomer treatment. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Dude, we're gonna have pitchforks and torches from the nursing home. They're gonna come here. They're gonna drive the bus. They're gonna drive the bus from the nursing home, and they're gonna come out. You're saying too many bad things.
Come here, Grandpa. The door right behind this door. This is where heaven is.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay. Anyways.
Dark. Okay. All right.
Bro, I want my royalties,
Sure,
okay?
we want the money. All right, we want to develop experimental cancer drugs that may or may not help people because we're going to get paid. And that we work at the NIH.
Right. Okay. So speaking of studies, let's go ahead and pull up that study. I don't know how to pronounce it. Interleukin 2 therapy. That's
interleukin.
Interleukin 2 therapy. It's just an example. This is an example of an experiment that they tried, in which the thing just didn't work.
Always break the word down into syllables.
Yeah.
Always. That's the key.
That is the key.
I struggle with that.
Okay, so let me go ahead and pull that up. Number 8 here, the conclusion. There's a lot of jargon here, but this is directly from the NIH and the government articles.
So they conducted 2 trials.
Yeah, essentially they conducted, and that is this the stuff you were talking about here?
The subcutaneous recombinant human interleukin 2 in HIV-infected patients under active antiretroviral therapy study and the evaluation of...
So I'll just summarize this for you guys. So,
a bunch of jargon.
Yeah, a lot of jargon here. But basically, this treatment was tested on almost 5,800 people. It raised what is called a CD4 immune cells count, right? And so that looks good on paper, but it didn't reduce like serious illness or death. So the treatment was given to patients with no real clinical benefit. And then a larger trial, and
it proved a biomarker that they could show on a test. Ooh, look at how cool this is, but it didn't do anything for outcome.
Right. And in a larger trial, severe medical events were higher in the group that received it. And so, I mean, it doesn't prove that Fauci rigged the study, but it really does show that the system has a serious problem here, in which the government should not have personal financial stakes in a treatment without being tested with money from its own agency.
I think this also really speaks to his methodology around like immunology, human body, medicine in general. And of course, I'm not Dr. Fauci. I'm not Dr. Fauci, but here's the thing. What are we looking at here? He's increasing the body's immune response in response to a virus.
Yeah.
Where else did we see that? With the vaccine.
COVID.
So like that's how his brain works with mechanism of action and drugs.
Right. So this stuff, a lot of jargon, but if you just dumb it down to like simple things, you got to understand this one thing, that the people judging whether a treatment works should not get paid when that treatment succeeds. That it's as simple as that, right? Like you should just be doing this for the good of humanity. You get your regular paycheck, you get a salary for doing your job, but all this extra stuff, what are we accomplishing? Because the extra stuff where the extra money is coming from, that's more than the salary.
Me and Tim are American citizens. Our families for generations have paid into this system that is supposed to develop drugs that will save our lives from various diseases, conditions, factors of being human, whatnot. And instead of getting public servants that actually care, you get grift lords.
Grift lords.
That's the whole country.
You have done well.
Yes, made the money. Ooh.
Extra grifting.
Yeah, exactly.
My researcher, you have done well.
Yeah, that's literally. We got the Beagles, right?
Oh, that you are. This is exactly where we're going, right? So what else passed review, guys? Okay, so before the government funds research, a research project,
sweet little guy, Fauci.
You know, other scientists usually review the research, and this is called a peer review. Okay, and so the idea is that the expert will catch weak or unsafe, pointless research before taxpayers actually have to pay for it. But, you know, Fauci didn't design every experiment. He's also part of the system here. But the Institute approved the funding for these crazy experiments. And the one that we have to look at, go ahead, pull this up. Go ahead and pull this up. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen.
Have mercy, dude.
Look at this. If you've got a puppy at home, you better hug him. You better kiss him. You better tell him you love him, because this is just disgusting.
Sick.
Right?
It's disturbing and sick. And just here's what happened. I'll just give a tiny little breakdown. I'm not going to be too graphic. I've owned dogs.
Oh, we got the breakdown.
I'm a dog guy. I've had dogs my entire life. I love dogs. Dr. Fauci cut the vocal cords, removed the vocal box of the beagle so it couldn't scream or bark or howl in pain, and then he inserted flesh-eating larvae, maggots, into their face.
Yep. So these dogs were used in parasite research involving biting flies, okay? So now let's
Some would say we don't need to do that research. Some would say we know what the biting fly does.
Not Fauci. So let's go ahead and pull up that video.
Dude,
now.
I hate it so much.
And it's going to kind of give a better breakdown of what these experiments were.
Yeah, where's John Wick when you need him? You know?
Excellent point. Are you guys seeing the equation here of why this man should not be allowed to just exist in society?
He's not cute and cuddly as he sells himself.
And by the way, we're just looking at the guy at the top of the totem
Well, that's
pole.
the thing is he controls all his minions, and they're just as bad, if
Just
not
as
worse.
bad as
Yeah.
exactly. And you always go after there's a fall guy. Fauci's becoming the fall guy for this, but let's not ignore the fact that all these other people exist. Go ahead and pull up number 10 there. It's gonna be it's gonna be the white coat waist fox beagle experiments there.
And there's no reason to do it. You can't justify a reason to do it, okay? And even, here's the thing. We have fucking AI and shit, okay? They can run simulations on basically any. I got a buddy in Cambridge right now that does like drug research, like literally like studying like interactive neurons.
It's not even just that. How do you tie an animal like a dog that is fundamentally different from a human and say that can translate into finding something that discovers something about humans?
Here's why they do it is because the beagle is so sweet and so kind that it will allow you to rip out its vocal box and insert the flesh-eating maggots into it.
Crazy. Yeah, let's go ahead and roll this clip. We'll show you guys what the research is about.
Dr. Anthony Fauci thought Rand Paul was mad at him.
He needs to stop
waiting
eating
until the animal activists see this.
Ozempic.
A new report shows that under Fauci's direction, the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Disease funded painful and deadly experiments on dogs to the tune of more than $400,000. According to the White Coat Waste Project, researchers used biting flies to infect dozens of healthy beagles with parasites to test an experimental drug. Records show the dogs endured months of pain, and once researchers were done with them, they were killed. Here to react, Laura Logan, host of Laura Logan Has No Agenda on Fox Nation, and Justin Goodman of the White Coat Waste Project. Justin, let me begin with you. What did you find in terms of your research on this?
Well, everyone knows that Anthony Fauci potentially caused the pandemic with reckless animal experiments over in Wuhan. But we track federal spending, particularly at the NIH, and through the Freedom of Information Act, we learned that the Fauci's division specifically recently contracted $400,000 for a university experiment where they bought 28 healthy beagles. The NIH website says they choose beagles because they're small and docile. Read, that means they are easy to abuse. They took these 28 healthy beagles, infected them with parasites by, as they've done in the past, strapping devices to them that allow flies to eat them alive, basically, give them parasites, and then they killed the dogs at the end of the study, even though they could have been rehabilitated and adopted out. This is a classic example of not following the science. These experimental drugs have already been extensively tested in other animals, including dogs, in the past. The FDA says that testing on dogs is not necessary. The EPA and the VA have ended dog testing or are about to end dog testing, and the NIH admits that 90% of these animal tests fail to translate to humans.
Pause. Cut back to us. No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, you're not a dog.
I'm not a dog.
Yeah.
I'm not a dog.
Come on.
I don't even have remotely close to the same genetics. How do you think that translates over?
We walk on two legs.
Okay, like if you
what
told
the
me
fuck?
if you told me monkeys or something, I could be like, all right, fine, maybe I could see this, right? But a dog.
Right. And that's the thing is like they have genetically modified mice that would be closer to a human than that dog would be. Literally, they did it because the dog is small and docile and it'll let it happen.
What kind of sick, twisted stuff has to go through your brain it's not normal?
Yeah, I think they should go to prison.
All of them.
Yeah, I think they should go to prison immediately.
Oh, have you heard of the monkey hormone experiment?
Oh God,
we got another one for you.
No, I didn't hear about this.
Let's go ahead and roll this clip. There's more, but wait, there's more.
Because it couldn't get uglier, you would think, spending millions of taxpayer dollars on horrifying experiments on animals. No one benefits from this. The animals don't deserve it. This time he's been caught trying to create transgender monkeys. Again, if you wrote a screenplay with that in it, about this whole moment, about Fauci, the fact the key to beating corona might be Viagra, your screenplay would be laughed out of the movie studio. In any case, PETA has been on this. PETA's discovered that the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases spent more than $200 grand on a proposed experiment that would, quote, subject male rhesus monkeys to feminizing hormone therapy to see whether that makes them more susceptible to HIV to help transgender women.
No.
Now, we wouldn't know about any of this.
What the fuck?
Yo,
Trans monkeys?
Come back to us real quick.
Trans simians or something?
They sit in a room.
Oh my!
They're like, guys,
where do you come up
what's
with
the
this shit?
craziest thing we can think of today to research?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we need 200K for that stat.
That actually took me out because I never saw this.
Crazy.
It's what is the point? It's to you explain that again.
We gotta make the monkeys gay and trans.
Because it'll fight COVID.
Yeah, because it'll fight COVID.
Because it'll fight COVID. It'll fight COVID to give the monkeys estrogen.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We'll continue the video.
Oh my God.
It gets worse.
Now, we wouldn't know about any of this if it weren't for PETA. Whatever you think of PETA, this is a service to the country. Kathy Guillermo is a senior VP there, and she joins us tonight. Kathy, thanks so much for coming on. Did you make this up?
It sounds like it, doesn't it? I mean, it's an experiment that an 8th grade science student could figure out is totally meaningless. But no, unfortunately, we did not. It's right on the website of what NIH funds. They take male monkeys. They put them in metal boxes. That's where they're forced to live. They subject them to so-called hormone treatment. And from that, they're supposed to learn something about HIV transmission. Now, never mind that monkeys don't actually contract HIV. They don't actually develop AIDS. This is a study that could be done with human volunteers. And we might actually find something out that would help human beings.
So there's a lot of money. I mean, I know PETA does not support this, but I think if you were to poll people, they would say, look, if you can prove that something's going to save human lives or, get to a massive advance in scientific knowledge, maybe. But so many of these animal experiments seem completely pointless. They're inflicting massive cruelty on animals who are helpless, and they seem driven by research dollars. Is that an unfair suspicion?
That's just absolutely correct. 20 billion research dollars. And in fact, we wrote to Fauci last month, and we pointed out that HIV experiments on monkeys have killed tens of thousands of monkeys. They've cost us billions of dollars, and we have no vaccine to prevent HIV. Now, you would think that 4 decades of utter failure would inspire NIH to try something different, but they haven't so far. And that's why I think it's really important that people get in touch with their members of Congress.
Okay. The fact that, a simple Google search could have told you monkeys can't catch AIDS would have just literally
the virus. They don't contract it, so why would you test? Why would you, there's no fucking
Rex, you're being racist. Stop it.
I gotta stop being racist. We need to give estrogen to all the rhesus monkeys that we're paying to experiment on. Bro.
I keep telling this guy.
I know. I keep being a racist, asking questions about the money.
Gracious.
I just gotta give Anthony Fauci license to abuse every single. What's he gonna do? Strap flamingos to rocket missiles and send them that to Iran? Improve aerodynamics or something?
Yeah, there's somebody mentioned shrimp on the treadmill. Yeah, go ahead.
Study this as well. I paid millions of dollars.
We studied that.
Yeah, it's very important. We have to figure out how to turn the shrimp into Usain Bolt. Yeah.
Yeah, go shrimp, go. Go, you got it, buddy. Yeah, dude, this is literally taxpayer money. This is comical.
This is just the taxpayer. This is just us. This is us working, to make money for this.
Hey, this improves my life, Rex. Stop being racist.
Well, didn't they gave steroids to hamsters. Had them fight.
Cocaine to quails.
Cocaine to the quail to see if they would be more sexually active. I think the researchers are probably just doing the drugs. Right? We have to get the cocaine.
All right, everybody take everyone take their nice little LSD today, and we'll go in the office together.
Yeah, it's dude. But the thing is here's the thing: is if you ever have been hunting, or if you ever taken life just in general, you understand that it's a morbid thing to cut something open and to mess with it, right? And I've done that, right? Like deer hunting and all that stuff, you name it, fishing, right? But to think about the idea from a clinical perspective of cutting up an animal and then killing it after, it can be the beagle can be rehabilitated, it can live with somebody. They're just no, this is waste to us. We just throw it away. And that really breaks my heart.
100%.
Because when I go hunting, I don't treat an animal like waste.
Nope.
So
you don't.
It's just very disturbing.
So now we go into the other dirty laundry here, where we've got this HHS inspector general, which is basically like the health department internal watchdog. And so his job is to just basically find waste, broken rules, misusing of the misuse of government money. And so there's a law here that's involved. It's called the Anti-Deficiency Act. And so this name kind of sounds complicated, but the rule is pretty simple. It basically says Congress gives agencies money for certain work and then a certain budget for the amount of years. And then the agency cannot use that money outside of the limits or commit money Congress has not legally provided. Basic math here, right? Like, sure. I give you money. These are the terms and condition. You follow terms and condition. Experiment works or it doesn't work.
Right.
But somehow we can't follow the rules here. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's pull up this document here, number 12.
And someone said, I go hunting, I treat them like food. Yeah, you eat, be kind to it. Be respect it.
So now we'll go down to page 5.
You're a steward of the land.
Okay, and then it says
NIAID violated the bona fide needs rule when it recorded expenditures against the wrong fiscal years. Although NIAID properly obligated the contract estimate for program year 1, the obligation exceeded the actual expenditures by just a little bit, $7.3 million. NIAID failed to deobligate the unneeded fiscal year 2003 funds remaining from program year 1. Instead, NIAID inappropriately used the remaining funds for that year for year 2 expenditures. So they're padding their books there. They're not giving that money back to the government taxpayer.
Exactly.
They're taking that for themselves.
So just for context, companies do this too.
Because
if you don't spend the money, they think, oh, well, you had a higher budget than what you need.
Down.
And so they budget you down. And so people are like, we don't want to lose that money. So
but this ain't no private company.
Exactly.
It's
not a private company.
They're supposed to save money. That's
exactly
the whole point. You want me to keep reading it?
Yeah, and because just skip down to the because it recorded expenditure.
Because it recorded expenditures on a first-on, first-out basis against inappropriate fiscal year funds, NIAID failed to identify and properly obligate funds for its bona fide need in succeeding program years. As a result, it violated the needs rule program for years 2 and 5 by obligating a total of $31 million. See how it just keeps going up?
Goes up, baby.
That exceeded the needs, $12.8 million in fiscal year 2004 and $18.2. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. We've gotten more corrupt for sure.
Guys, the numbers are definitely worse today. This is just what they've reported on what we know.
This is what we can prove. That's what we're going to work on.
This is exactly what we can prove.
And this is what they said back then. NIAID must resolve the rule violations and address the Anti-Deficiency Act violations by deobligating $12.8 million.
So now we'll jump down to page 23 here at the very end.
I spend your money on
they don't
Eagles.
They admit they don't sit here and try to hide that they didn't do anything wrong. So let me see. It says the NIH agrees. Where is that? Sorry, let me just.
We got a great pop today. If you guys aren't following us, Gray Area Talks, YouTube, Rumble, X. Follow Tim as well. LinkedIn, my profile, Truism Tim. If you guys follow, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff, it pushes us up in the stratosphere to the next dimension. We're trying to make this the best show on the internet. Please just go ahead, show the support, show the love. We got Wes, King Wes, producer in here doing a phenomenal job. Shout out to you, Wes. Really appreciate you on the keys. Everyone in the audience, please, your friends, family, they need to know what you know. Tell them about Gray Area.
Yeah.
Tell them about the show tomorrow.
100%. So we'll just read this real quick. So essentially, the NIAID says, accordingly, the NIH agrees that the violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act occurred with respect to this contract. So they're like, yeah, we can't hide anything. We know. We lied, right? So that's just when you get caught.
Look at all the lawyer language. It's just so gross.
It is gross.
Because you could say everything in there in 3 sentences.
Back to us.
Like that's my whole problem with just the government corruption in general is you could say all that in like one paragraph. And you don't, whenever you see jargon, it's not because they're any smarter than you. It's because they learned another language.
Yep.
They learn another language on your ass and they use that over you.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Now, remember we talked about this 2014, and this brings me to the main part of this conclusion. Why was the pardon all the way back to 2014?
I don't know.
So, Wes, let's go ahead and pull up this timeline. This is a good timeline for you guys to know. And this is all gonna make sense.
Dude, you did a good job.
This is all going to
Holy
make sense.
shit.
I put this together here. This is my graphic.
This is the payoff now.
Okay,
Here
this
we
is the
go.
payoff. All right, so we look at 2014 here. This is the date where it starts making sense. So in 2014, the NIAID gave EcoHealth Alliance money to study coronavirus. Okay, remember EcoHealth Alliance is that same when we did this deep dive earlier about Fauci and the files that they came out with.
Right.
EcoHealth Alliance was the main thing that was in question that did the gain of function research.
Right, that was
That's why
all
this
the
is all
funding.
important. 2014 is when they gave them the money. That's why Biden says you are exonerated to 2014. Okay, so now that work included the live viruses, genetic changes, experiments to alter that basically in mice that make it react more like humans. And so then later
The gain of function.
the gain of function, and then later in that same year, the Obama administration pauses some of the new gain of function research.
We got to stop funding this.
Right. So then gain of function, obviously, like to your point, it just means adding something to it to make a new ability to make it more lethal. And with a virus, that literally means it can grow faster, infect cells better, causing more harm.
Transmission, yeah.
Exactly. And then the scientists say that this work can help us understand a dangerous virus before the outbreak. Okay. And then you got in 2015, the researchers published a study involving this SARS-like virus. And then
SARS-like COVID-2. Yep.
and that means they
That's
built
that
a
term.
virus using parts related from related viruses. And then you got by 2018 and 2019, there's reports that the modified SARS virus related to testing in humanized mice. So literally you can see all of this coming. And then you got 2019 outbreak.
Right.
So blanket pardon, 2014 to whenever he did this, which is 2024, it was all related to COVID, guys.
And, I mean, the pardon itself is kind of proof of the crime. The date of the pardon, because you can go back to EcoHealth, and it's we've shown the EcoHealth Alliance emails. He funded gain of function research. He created the virus on record.
Right, and
There's
it's
no lying about it.
and
Sue us if it's not true.
And the problem here is in 2017, they paused. The pause that Obama put in was taken off. Who was here in 2017?
Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is all just one big mess up of a system. It's.
I wonder if Trump was like, Obama wanted to pause the virus research. What a loser he was. We got to start doing that again.
Well, what they do is they rely on a changeover of hands because the administration changes out. I'm sure
But the
somebody made a strong
bureaucracy
case.
Doesn't. And Fauci doesn't.
Fauci
And they
existed.
stay, and there's like, oh, time for the next guy to manipulate. And then we're going to, and that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. I just think I
No,
touched
this is
yeah.
perfect. That's
That's-
exactly
that's the
what
whole
it is. There's no other way to put it. There's
Right.
no other way to put it. You wait for your turn because the next guy is going to be easier to convince. Crazy. He's been there for 4 administrations, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So now.
Yeah,
we're-
throw that up, Wes, really quick. I'm Dr. Fauci. I've got a cure for you. It's going to make you feel really good, and it's going to make me a lot of money when you're dead.
Right. So that pretty much concludes the deep dive. Like I had to go down this rabbit hole because I was like, that
was
date
great.
makes no sense.
I was
to
impressed
me.
by that, Tim. That was good.
No sense to me. Guy is evil. The entity is evil. Not everything that the administration of this NIH and NIAID, AID, like it's not all like.
But it's about rot. It's about rot, and clearly, and we've showed it because the payouts just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's all
year
about these
after year
kickbacks,
after
man.
year.
Like why can't you go into a company like me and every other 9-to-5 guy, do your freaking job? You might get a yearly bonus because of the fact that like the company's doing well and get paid for that. What's all this extra conflict of interest stuff where you realize, ooh, not a lot of people know what's going on here. We can make some money.
Yeah.
It's disgusting behavior.
And that's the thing about experts, right? Like, and that's the thing is like good people that are very smart. They oftentimes don't seek power, because they just want to do a good job. But somebody like him, I'm sure, high level technical professional. I'm sure he knows, like, he understands science technically, but he doesn't understand the science. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't get the science of helping people. He gets the science of making the drug.
Yeah. Dude, these entities and these corporations and the government is just so big, it's hard to catch all these things. I'm literally probably covering These are things that happened in the past, by the way. That doesn't even go to cover the insane amount of waste that's going on right now and corruption.
Right.
I probably, out of all the deep dives I've done, probably it's 1% of the entire equation. That's literally what I've come to the conclusion as I've been researching these things over and over again. I'm like, it's in plain sight. We just learn about it later on.
Right. And he literally, and we talked about it with Clint, Fauci is red-handed caught, and Trump talked to auto pen. You don't hear any of that anymore. You hear none of that because they can't call Biden's faulty pardons into question, because then Trump's future pardons will be called into question. And Trump has said it over and over and over again. The power of the pardon is the greatest power of the U.S. president.
Yeah.
Greater than the military.
I can get away with corruption.
Greater than being commander-in-chief, okay? Greater than being able to drop a nuclear weapon. He can just write, murder, torture, rape.
And you know what's crazy? Just think about the founding fathers, what the intention of that weapon was for. It wasn't to be for bad. It was because during that time period, people were getting prosecuted for things that they probably shouldn't have. And there was the British government that was involved. And they wanted to make sure that at least if the judicial system failed, the president could at least step in and make a wrong a right.
And it was smart at a time where you really had like a lot more state power versus federal power. And it was smart at a time where you had to attenuate situations like that. But we have mutated so fast. We've done gain of function research on ourselves. So
it's crazy. Just reading this super chat.
Super chat.
I think we could make this happen.
We love Chase.
I haven't met Bach yet,
Bach is great. Bach
he seemed like a funny guy.
We love Bach. We'll definitely do that.
Let me see. I think I saw one more.
Thank you for the YouTube shout. I really appreciate that.
I think I saw one more super chat.
Rex can interview Jeff Berwick. I'll look him up. I will. You have my word on that. Spazinator5567. Hashtag.
Okay.
I got you on that.
That's pretty much it from me, guys.
Berwick.
I hope you guys found some value out of this deep dive tonight.
I'm going to go roll over and die. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Last thing I would wish from you guys is to just go and
plug the shit out of us, please.
I would just love for you guys to go and subscribe. Also, I think I want to show you guys Primal Core. This is very rare that I ever plug, but this is something that has been helping me a lot because I live by my own product as well. Rex and I have developed this thing. Wes, can you go ahead and pull up Primal Core real quick? Yep. Okay. What I want you guys to do is go to goprimalcore.com, and here's the equation here. So we invented this product basically to give you guys that 360 win, where we were like, how can people support the show, but then also gain some value for themselves? And so Primal Core is one of these things that like genuinely has changed. If you guys have been following the journey of this show, there was a time where I was very deficient in a lot of remedies that my body needed, and I was getting extreme fatigue. I was tired. It was miserable, right? And I was like literally freezing on air. I couldn't think. I couldn't do anything. Comes to find out that I was deficient in one main culprit, which was vitamin D and a bunch of other things. And so I started taking Elemental Drive to start balancing myself out again. It gave me this like silent energy. So when you take like Elemental Drive or you take the Ultimate Ashwagandha, it's not like you're getting like this crazy boost high and it's like a steroid shocking you. It's literally something that works silently in the background over time that allows you to continue to like do the things that you need throughout the day. And our body is deficient in so many things because the food that we consume literally does not have enough of the nutrients that we need. So this is designed to help you with that. Okay. I think, Maureen, we're checking on that. I know the site, there was something going on with that. I am going to make sure that like we can make sure that we do that. I think we're checking with Shopify. I think there's something going on with the site. Go ahead, Maureen, and try to see if you can place an order. If not, then we still have to troubleshoot that. I'm pretty sure it was just something going on with Shopify. But this is something that I really hope you guys would take the time to just go ahead and just give it a shot. And if you want a discount, you can go ahead. You do this discount for 25% off, Core 25. Super simple. get a discount, and we appreciate you guys. That is it from the plugging from me. Genuinely, if you want some value, I encourage you guys to just go out and just try Primal Core. You won't be disappointed. Also, if you get some value, DM me, 100%. Yeah, so actually, this is a good thing. Yeah, these products work for women and men. It's not just men. Women can find all types of benefits from the products themselves, okay? It is not something that, like, if you take, it's going to mess a woman's system up. They can always benefit from the same core minerals that we have, okay? That is it for me. I am also very exhausted today. Somebody had a question. Oh, someone said ashwagandha. Yes. Maureen's I know you've been buying this ashwagandha. Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to take off here, guys. Like I said, go to goprimalcore.com. Maureen, I think the site is working, but just DM me again if you don't think that it is, and we'll try to troubleshoot that tomorrow. Okay. Love you guys. God bless. Subscribe to the Gray Area. That's all. Even if you don't want to buy the product or anything like that, that is the most and the biggest support that you can do for us is just subscribe. We're literally 50 people away from being at 5K. If we can do that tonight, I will consider that the greatest gift in the universe to us if you found any value out of tonight's show and the deep dive and what Rex had to say and what Clint had to say and I had to say. And we appreciate you guys. We love it. We love you guys. Peace.
Modern life has led